Listen to the Larp Lounge live on Sundays at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at twitch.tv/Aerorstar. That's twitch.tv/ARRUSTAR.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of the Larp Lounge. Of course, I am Aerostar or Jovi Smash, and I am here with...
What do I say? Jessica, also Zyaelah and Larp.
Do you have a last name?
Munslinger.
Oh, does Zyaelah have a last name?
Zyaelah is lucky to remember her first name. So okay. I don't know Zyaelah's last name yet.
My real name is Nikki, and my character's name is Zyaelah and Tenamen.
All right, so to start things off, we had something exciting happen this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Involving your character.
Ta-da! I should probably just take off the cloak. Anyway, wow, I went Westport. That's right. Anyway, so the I guess the country where we are, I wanted to become a citizen, or Zyaelah, finally. I mean, people have been talking about it for years, and she's wanted to for a while, but it just, with the Talsagor fights and all that stuff, it's just the timeliness. So yeah, Prince Eric came in, and I pledged. I became a citizen, and then he announced it to everybody, and I got my full gold armband that declares I'm a citizen, and it's really fun, these role play moments where I mean, it was going to be an outside event, but something happens with his inside, so it's just more role play, and those are sometimes really fun. So kind of fun role playing, like my excitement, and almost getting to tears and being embarrassed.
So why did you not start off as a Falcon Crest citizen? Like, was there a background reason for that, or? Well,
with Zyaelah, she's from Laroth, but like with her, since I was a new to LARP, new to Mythic, new to everything 4 years ago when I came in, so I was just like, I don't want to come in with a character who would know the history of everything, because I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
So my character came in with amnesia. Basically, she was from Laroth. She was traveling with her family on a merchant caravan. They fell under attack. She ran away, and that's all she remembers. And all of a sudden, then she ran away, and then she entered into Falcon Crest through this. The event was an ice cavern and stuff like this. It was a fireside role play event, and she just showed up and started to befriend everybody. And it wasn't until I think it was a Resport event where that triggered her memories of when she was like 7 or 8, when that traumatic event happened where everybody in her family died, and so basically she went to like the Silver Glen and came out of it, took her memories. So she was 8, and then all of a sudden she's an adult, and she has no idea how old she is. She knows her last name because they were yelling at her to run. All she remembers much.
Hey, Lone Star, how you doing? Thanks for being here.
Hello.
We forgot to introduce this little guy too.
Yeah. So Zyaelah became a druid this past year and has befriended a little squirrel whose name is Nut Nut. So I figured we would have Nut Nut here as well. During battle, sometimes he'll hide. He's not always 100% with me, but he has a little sling so that he can like hang, so I can like have him hanging on me, and he can hide under my cloak or whatever. Sometimes he goes off and talks to his family, comes back. But it's funny. He's like the only like intelligent squirrel I know, because every other squirrel you talk to him, and like 3 seconds later they forget exactly what you asked them to do. But he actually has a decent memory for a squirrel.
Well, and there was his little scarf for his little patch.
Yes,
you have a story behind that.
Yes, he came up to stupid story. He during the Talsagor battles and all that stuff, this lich, or whatever, and all these undead battles and stuff. He's like, I want to look tougher. And he saw the pirates in their skull and crossbones, so I went to a local merchant in town and bought him a little bandana so he could look like a tougher squirrel.
Lone Star says, cute little Nut Nut.
Oh yeah, when he first came in too, we had these 2 characters who were wanting to pay people to steal him from me. And I was like, oh my god.
You talking about the Parthens?
Oh my gosh, those Parthens.
Yeah, they've been talked about a few times on this show. So I need to reach out to them. Really, I don't know how to.
Oh my gosh, they would be awesome.
They would be the best. But I'm gonna have to get them on here, especially as they're Parthens, because their outfits were.
Their outfits are awesome. They are in character. They are hilarious. I mean, they're obnoxious and everyone hates them, but at the same time, like the player is just like, we love them because
Yeah.
they're so obnoxious and hilarious. But yeah, they would run around town trying to get Nut Nut away from me and trying to talk to Nut Nut and convince Nut Nut to come to them. And Nut Nut's like, I hate you guys. It's like everybody else in town.
So Lone Star has a swollen uvula. Is that from all the moving and stuff? That sounds painful.
Yeah, the uvula is the thing at the back of the neck, right? The little dangly bit.
Yeah, I think so. That doesn't make sense from moving. How did you hurt that? Too much shouting, giving orders while moving?
It's cold and flu season too.
Yeah, it's making my wrist hurt today, actually. I think the cold is... I haven't had my wrist hurt for a while, and today I got up and I had to take some medicine for it.
Yeah, it's the rain.
Allergic reaction to the dust. Oh, from all the moving? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Dust is... I don't know what's in dust. I hate dust. I really do hate dust. If I see dust, I get claustrophobic. I have to clean.
And you must hate the Weekenders, especially in Middle Canyon, because as soon as we start fighting,
See, that's dirt.
we're in a dust cloud at that point.
That's dirt. Dirt is dirt to me. It's a stupid psychological thing. Dirt's different than dust.
Okay. Well,
I don't get it either, but it's
got a dust
my
allergy.
brain. I'm just figuring out how it's wired, and I just comply.
yeah, that's just true. Sometimes that's all you can do. Comply.
Yeah, and my character, she's Fae. I'm supposed to be covered in glitter, but I don't like to use glitter because then you have to wash it off and you always find it in 5,000 places. So I use glitter glue. I really didn't want to put glue on my face today.
I doubt it would show up anyway,
wouldn't
so
show
it's
up
not
anyway.
really a big deal. So.
Maybe a little twinkly, but yeah, I'm supposed to have glitter. So I put the glue on my face, and then it's easy to peel off. And
That's
so
nice.
that's kind of a little hack I have for Fae.
I chose to be human, so I didn't have to do makeup.
Ditto. I hate makeup, but so let's talk about the Weekender. A lot of crazy things happened. I want to jump to how the tavern got destroyed, but I know that's like near the end.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the beginning. So they were in the what Arbor Isles?
Yeah.
Arbor Isles, yeah.
It's been how many years? 2 years?
About, yeah.
It's a 2-year-long storyline. It started with a herald named Rihari coming. She lost contact with her siblings on the Arbor Isles, and she couldn't get back. So she came to Northwatch and asked us to go. And I was involved initially, and then I had some medical issues, so I've been gone for the past year. So conclusion was this weekend, and I was not feeling well either. So I just took a bunch of pictures and laughed my head off at how much fun it was. So much fun.
And I've been doing it since the beginning. Started with Rahari saying, hey, I need your help. I need to send you to my world because I can't go. And we're like, sure. The only downside was she couldn't send our bodies. We had to bring a little figure representing us. We'd give that to her, and then she would suck our soul out and send our soul there.
They were ghosts.
Yeah, we were undead.
Yeah. The very, very first one was so interesting going there because, of course, they know the history in the world and how it's all going to be and what's going on. And we're walking around just as ghosts, and we're trying to see the humans there, and they're terrified. Not in like it's a ghost thing, but like they couldn't talk to us because they were afraid if they talked to us, they would be killed by whoever was ruling, like, or they would be taken or whatever. Like, they were very much like, it was very weird because it was like they probably would have, in different circumstances, probably would have talked to us and been okay, but for the history of it was the current history of the world, and they were just so afraid to talk to us. We're like, no, we're going to be killed because you're here. And we're like, we're not here to hurt you. Oh, and then we had to figure out how to talk to them.
Generally, with ghosts and spirits, you'll need a spiritualist who can use commune to allow you to interact with them and understand the language. Otherwise, it's charades.
So we used our weapons once because we found out when we put our weapons down, they became, in our hands, they were like ghosty weapons. But when we put them down, they became really real and physical. So we would spell out words with the weapons at first and write some. Yeah, it was real fun to figure out because it's like we're in this weird random world. We got to figure out a way to communicate with people, but we got to figure out why they didn't want to talk to us. And like the one family I remember who we spelled out words with their weapons. When we came back a second time, like they had been captured and killed. Like they had faced repercussions for communicating with us. And so I remember the beginning was very intriguing, and I'm so mad that I fell ill and couldn't go back. So it was funny to see coming back and seeing how much it had advanced and how you guys had made allies and done this and that. And I was just like, whoa, there's been a lot that's happened in this world.
Yeah, so the general history of it is it was a peaceful Fey place. A bunch of different races lived in harmony. Some humans came over on ships fleeing a plague, and along with them also came a couple members from a dark group called Ebony Hand. At which point they kind of infiltrated the society and just sat and waited. Over time, the heralds, Rahari and her siblings, kind of were neglectful. Like they're heralds of dance and partying. And
it's like the Roman Greek gods
a little
bit. Like we're your gods, but like, let's just we're not really that involved. We don't really care.
Yeah. So somehow something went wrong. Undead started to infest the lands, and a man by the name of Geppetto, he's got a long backstory. Basically, short end of it is he wanted to seek vengeance on the gods for the neglect and mistreatment of the people. Ended up capturing most of them except Rahari, and then used the giant world tree, Yggdrasil, kind of bringing back to Norse mythology. They tie a little bit of that into it, and started using that to manipulate the magic. So we were unable to use mystic healing magic, and we could only use necromantic, which a lot of people liked because you can't use necromancy in Taroth, and because
Cerelia,
the laws and
the regular game it's illegal almost everywhere, so it was kind of a release for a lot of people to be able to use it with no repercussions.
And of course, me as a mystic healer and stuff like that, like a lot of the other mystic healers played it as like they didn't want to go because they didn't want to do any necro, because it's the opposite of light magic, mystic magic. And my characters being so, I mean, I really play my character as a child. Like I'm only like 4 years old, and so back then it was 2 years in, and I had talked to some people about how they don't view necro. It's just another form of magic. It's not so much evil. It's how it's used or whatever. So I had no problem like healing because you use the necromancy to heal ghosts, So I had no problem using that. But the other healers, they had a different character they'd use to come in, So I think it was just fun for me to play with different characters, a different storyline, and that. But
yeah, so eventually Geppetto created this group that they called the Crusade, and they basically said all humans are good, all non-humans are bad. So that included goblins, mermaids, dendrians, or like dryads and tree folk, harpies, and so they kind of started to span out across the picture that you saw earlier of the world map, and they started to take things over. And we came into that on the undead side. So we saw white knights, like good guys from what we're used to, killing undead and hurting some people. As we soon discovered, they were actually kind of cultish, where they would take people for dancing and singing and doing art, basically anything that represented the heralds and what they stood for as blasphemy. And so they would do kind of witch trials back in Salem time. So they'd burn them at the stake, they'd throw them in the water, they'd boil them alive.
Yeah, they'd conscript people, like they made people, so like me at the beginning didn't like kill all of these soldiers because some of them were forced to fight. So I didn't feel like comfortable.
Yeah, they were like farmers
them.
And laborers that were conscripted, forced, drafted more or less into the military and forced to fight. And so this was a contentious issue for the first little while. Some of us, Zyaelah and myself, were like, well, these are just regular people. We're not going to kill them. We'll knock them out and throw them off to the side. Me being an honor-bound warrior, I'm like, these people aren't worth killing.
Yeah.
But then other people were like, they're murdering people and they're doing all this evil things and and it's just like, well, the people in charge are, yes, but these people aren't. So why are you murder hoaxing everybody?
See, and I remember when the guys running it were talking, like they wanted there to be a lot of moral dilemmas in this one, which was one of the things that intrigued me, but I never played it just because my character would never go there because the idea of necromancy, even if it was legal there, is, an abhorrent thing to my character that he just doesn't do. So, and no one ever requested me come, so I never did. But I do remember NPCing a few, and they were very fun to NPC. But I remember they loved having their moral dilemmas, and that was like one of the first big ones. Is you guys trying to decide what to do with all these conscripted members. So
yeah, then it just culminated to you guys eventually be forming alliances with the mermaids and with the
goblins
harpies and the
dendrians,
goblins
yeah.
and all that, and then it just kind of culminated to the Weekender. It was fun. It was fun because I was not playing, but it was fun watching all the different things. They had a map of Arbor Isles and like all these figurines of. Yeah.
So the runners created the map and actually had a printout of it. It was a nice, big, huge thing. And they also got little meeples or small little like wood, very base, no detail representations of figures. And so they would place set out on the world map, and then we would have kind of strategy war meetings, and we would talk about what we're going to do, where movements were going to happen and take place. And then even a couple times they grabbed like mismatches of different games. They had like Lord of the Rings, they had Heroescape, and they put it on a board, and we just acted out some of the battles.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was different.
And those actually affected how the story would go and certain things happened in the plot. So by this point, we were trying to collect the remnants of Rahari's siblings, return them to her so that way they could take back control of the realm. Things had come to a head the Weekender, where we had finally collected enough armies and allies and materials. We got some airships, because as you saw, the ring of the world was in the land and then the giant tree was in the center, and we had to fly on those airships to the giant tree because they had ships and underwater golems. So the sky was the only way for us to enter.
And it was so funny because I got to overhear, because like I said, I was not feeling well, so I was in my tent, and the tent was right, because they're on the airship, so they had the helm, and then you had the top of the ship, and then you had the engine room and the storage room. So where I was, my tent was right by the engine room. And so one of the characters, Miles, was down there, and he was told to keep an eye on the engine. They got attacked by a Thunderbird or something that was shooting lightning at the ship. Well, his character was getting healed by lightning, so he would like funnel the lightning into himself so that the engine wouldn't get destroyed, and it actually helped kind of keep the engine running and everything like that. But Timmy, Two-Hand Timmy, he was an NPC. But he would run down, and he's like, Miles, why were you hurting the engine? What were you doing? And Miles was like, I'm trying to help the engine. I told you not to touch the engine. 2 pops good, 3 pops bad. And Miles was like, I know, there were 3 pops. I was trying to help it. Why are you messing with it? Why were you breaking it? We got attacked by a Thunderbird. Well, why didn't you tell me? And Timmy just...
He also had a hearing issue, so you had to yell in order to communicate with him.
And then he went, what? And I think they were looking for... a needle and thread, and Miles is like, Timmy, where's needle and thread? And Timmy goes, I don't know who that is. Timmy was my favorite part of the weekend, because 1, he was hard of hearing, 2, he kept going back and forth with Miles, and once Miles would explain the situation, he'd be like, oh, why didn't you tell me that at the beginning? But every time the bell rang, he thought you had to go check on the engine.
So the dinner bell,
they ring the bell for breakfast, lunch, dinner, but they ring it for seconds as well. So at least 6 times on Saturday, that bell's ringing. And Timmy, Miles, go check the engine, go check. And then, he had to run and pretend that he's climbing down the ladder to go check the engine. Well, at one point, it was during seconds, and Miles is at the front of the line getting food. He's like, no, we don't need to ring a bell. Everyone come back for seconds. And then another character, Leon, Ari, picked up the bell and kind of rang it at that moment. Timmy turned, and the character, the actor, he was laughing so hard. He's like, I almost died. He was laughing so hard because Miles had to run to go check the engine. He came back. He's like, Leon, we need to talk. You may not survive this talk.
That would be something Leon would do too. He likes to piss off people.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's not necessarily bad against Miles, because Miles did show an explicit interest in the engine. He's like, oh, I love air magic. Yeah, I want to figure it at first. But I think Timmy kind of took advantage of that and really played it up and made him kind of overzealously involved in it.
Yeah, because they had an air elemental in the engine running the engine. So he was like the source of the power was this air elemental creature, something like that. And so that was, again, in Miles plays, the actor plays the character, the Larper plays the character, very always wants to learn and know new things, experience something new, I've got to learn about it. So that for me over the week, I was laughing. Anytime those two interacted, so funny.
So is this the same Timmy that's a pacifist that works for the
No, he's not a character. He's not a PC to me. He was just on the ship in Arbor Isles. I don't think we'll ever see him again.
He's just a crew member, essentially. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, there's another NPC named Timmy. So
that's when I posted the pictures and everything on Facebook, and someone was like, wait, Timmy? And somebody else had to go, yeah, no, this is a different Timmy. I'm like, oh, so there's another Timmy somewhere in Cerealia.
Yeah, that Timmy, I believe, is with the Order of Light.
Yeah.
Is a third healer and is actually like a kid.
He does actually, he does. And he's a pacifist, and he now, supposedly he has the Sword of Summer, but we were recently told something that might contradict that, so we're trying to verify that, but so he has like one of the strongest swords created by man, and he's a pacifist and refuses to use it, and he uses it only for healing. So it's just kind of funny to.
I remember going on an adventure with him. We had to go fight a bunch of I think it was not wraiths, Drakes, yeah, and he was just like running around, and I guess there's a spirit of a dragon slayer there who like killed him. Was like, you're not worthy to wield such a weapon. You're such a coward. Killed. And we were like, no, don't kill him. Yeah. I remember it was so funny.
I actually helped him gain his Theurge training from Sibella when I was doing my warden training with two of my bonds, Divas and Boji.
I remember that. I think that was the weekend I killed somebody. Me, the healer, killed somebody because I got enslaved, and I have an ability where I can hit with Force 25 freeze, which is 25 points of damage, and Force is something you can't, if you're a lower level character, you can't really dodge it. You have to sidestep it or whatever. And I was enslaved and was told to kill the kid. So I killed the kid. I was like, here, because he trusted me. He's like, here, come on here, kill you. La 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 la, and then he shows up as a spirit later, and they're like, Zyaelah, cast grant well-being on yourself. I'm like, why would I do that? And then somebody finally did it to me, because like, duh, idiots. And then I was like, wait, what happened? I was just walking out of the tavern. Why am I surrounded by a bunch of people? Who's that kid? Why,
Yeah, it was the first weekend of last year. It was literally my return to LARP. So yeah, it was a lot of fun role playing that because he had to learn how to heal, and I had to put my guys in their death counts and their bleed counts in order for them to learn their survivor from me. So it was a lot of fun. So he's been healing them while I'm killing them.
Yeah, I remember watching that because I was just I had to be away from the tavern. And so I was sitting there watching as you guys were all training and stuff. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I do remember that. It was so fun.
So let's hear the story, because I know Banner's been trying to become a dragon forever, and apparently so did he become a dragon?
So they found a little girl who had all the power,
Well, should we explain the
magic.
story and get to that? Because that will kind of help give context to it a little bit.
I guess it was just in that moment. Basically, the game runners were trying to get Banner to go, well, I want to become a dragon, so that she can make him a dragon.
Because he asks everyone he meets
all the time
for the last year.
Yes,
hey, can you make me into a dragon?
Yeah.
And so we were waiting for him to do that to the little girl, but he was hesitant because I believed he knew something was coming.
So she just kind of was like, okay, well, whatever, here, I know, and boop. And he turned into a little puppet. Just this tiny little puppet dragon.
That he had to roleplay for a day.
It wasn't permanent. It was only for a day, but he couldn't talk to anybody. So it was really nice, actually, to have Banner not be able to
Silence.
Silent Banner for a while. But then somebody cast animal speech on him, and then he was able to talk. But it was just it was so funny because he put the puppet on his hand, and everyone lost it. We were dying. We were laughing so hard. So I did take a picture of the Banner. And when I posted, people were like, oh, the people who weren't there who had to leave, they're like, I'm so sorry I missed this. I was like, I know, Banner was quiet for a while.
He was not happy.
Yeah, I saw that something the Banner was not very happy about it, but that was funny. So you were also showing me photos of like rabbit ears. What was the situation with that?
This was the world tree.
Yeah.
What was the serpent was attacking it?
No. So the world tree has portals and doors into different realms and worlds. Mm-hmm. One of the worlds that we had to go through in order to find the heralds was a realm that turned everyone that went through it into a rabbit. So
with 3 health points or hit points.
Wow.
Yeah. So the runners had little bunny ears for everybody.
And I took pictures of everybody with the ears on, which was great because some people had these big, huge helmets with the ears on top. It just was
Myself
so great.
being one of them.
Uh-huh.
And so our goal was to take down a bear.
That was hitting for 10.
Yeah.
The bear hits for 10, and the rabbits have 3.
And so we weren't actually able to hurt it until we had made traps. It fell into a trap, and then we could hurt it.
But they were hitting for 1.
Yeah.
So you'd have like 5 bunnies around the bear going, one normal, one normal, one normal. And then the bear was trying to get out of the trap. And then when the bear got out of the trap, all the bunnies scattered. And I recorded the entire fight. And it was so funny to have one normal, and then the bear would jump up, roar, and everybody would run away, which normally doesn't happen. Normally they just stay and hit because they can take 20 points of damage. Or 2 hits, or they have damaged ceilings, but no, they're a bunch of. So it was the best thing for me because everybody was a bunny. You were like, I really believed everybody was a bunny. So you had the bait bunnies trying to get them into different traps, and they had so many different elaborate traps. They had duct tape that they used as sap traps. They had
bubble wrap they used as spike traps.
Bubble wraps. They dug a hole. They had those traps, where the spear or whatever came through a tree. So,
oh, wow.
And
logs on rope that would swing down and hit them, tripwire. It was elaborate.
Yeah, so I mean, it was fun. And then then the bunnies can hide really well. So half of the people were just hiding, and the other half were trying to hit it with their one normal. And I think he probably had 50, 70. He had a lot.
Well, we didn't actually hurt him unless he was affected by a trap.
Yeah.
So we had to drop him like 5-6 traps before he was finally able to go down.
And there was one trap where he fell, and they ran a rope around him. Well, when he got out of the trap, the rope, he couldn't get out because it was a bear, but he was like a jackalope bear or something like that.
Oh yeah, we had a grappling hook that we were going to run around him to trap him, and the runner's like, that's not going to work. He's not trapped by that, and we're like, oh, okay. But it gets caught on him anyway, and prevents him from actually like.
So he tries to get the rope off, but it gets caught on this. Then he tries to get the rope off again, and it's caught on his horns. He tries to get the rope off, and then it's caught on his arm again. It took him like 3 or 4 times to finally get out of the rope. And we were just laughing so hard. It was hilarious.
So it was a bear with horns?
Yeah, so I think, it wasn't a jackalope. I got jackalope in mind because
that's one of our other.
One of the Newell, he's the character. He had bunny ears and he has horns, so he was just like the whole time like, I'm a jackalope. I'm a jackalope.
So it was a jackalope.
Yeah, he was a minotaur bear. I think that's what Chris said he was, a minotaur bear. So that's why he had horns, because we're like, why would a bear have horns? He had horns. He was a big, huge bear.
Wow.
So that was fun to watch and see everybody. A different way to fight than just go and just hit somebody. You had to, because they had to do traps. There was no way to defeat the bear without traps, because that's what they said at the very beginning. You guys can hide, you get hit for 1, you have 3 hit points, and you can build traps. You just instinctively know how to build really elaborate traps. And that was like hint, 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 wink, wink. They built.
They're fun game runners because they try and do different tactics and different strategy and utilize different elaborate mechanics to make the game more interesting. It was definitely a fun campaign to run, and it's a shame that it's over.
It was fun to NPC into. I only NPC'd a few times, but there were a lot of times where NPC'd where I had a lot of fun. Almost every time there was always a goblin that they had to talk to, and I wouldn't talk. I would always just stand behind the goblin talking, and I would pantomime what was going on like the whole time. So they're like, "Oh, someone's coming to kill us," and I'm like, like I would just spend like half the party is paying attention to me and not even paying attention to her, and they're all just laughing their head off, and she's up there all serious talking and has no idea that I'm doing all this behind her. I remember there was one, like, this is one thing I liked about it, is that sometimes they would kind of break the fourth wall to have some fun. Like, there was one time where I literally played Audrey from The Plant from Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, I literally played Audrey 2. I don't know if you were there for that one. It was in Castle, and yeah, I literally ate them.
That's awesome.
I had little things that I would sprout up, and they would literally take their soul, and I could eat their soul. And like they actually had to go tell the runners, "Oh, I got eaten by Audrey," but like I was only hurt by lightning because that's how he ended up dying in the movie, was electricity. So like,
Oh yeah, no, I was there. I remember.
yeah, and I was calling out like I could enslave people. And so I started calling out commands. I was like, "Hey, someone feed me," and everyone was so fun. But so like even as an NPC, they made it enjoyable for you to play. Like,
oh yeah, I was a mermaid or a siren. I don't know. We were in, I think, a mermaid city, and the music was the towers of the music was off or whatever. And so I was an NPC, but I was
did that one
a
too,
siren.
yeah.
So I was singing to charm them and lure them to me, but I had to do as much as I possibly could. I had to try to sing off key or sharp or flat or whatever. It's so hard to intentionally sing flat or sharp. And I would draw them to me, and then they would fight for me, and so that was fun as an NPC. And then we had one over the summer where I NPC'd. It was not really a zoo. It was like a research center where they had a bunch of the fairies or pixies or mermaids and all the different cages and stuff. And the Crusaders, knowing that they were coming, just slaughtered everyone. So they came in kind of like not long after the slaughter. And so they kind of let me have some freedom to describe what the cage looks like. So I'm these little fairies or pixies or whatever. And like I was describing, like, yeah, you see some on the ground, looks like somebody stomped on with a boot and squished them, or they're hanging from the wall, like these little bodies hanging from the wall. So they ended up taking them down and burying them stuff. And then they had another one where it was like there was a half-eaten mermaid was there, and like their bodies are bloated because they have to look like they were starving, so they're bloated from not eating. And just the way to describe, like, how the glass was broken, so there's water and glass everywhere. And I guess they had a creature in there eating the body. So it's like I told the guy who's playing that NPC, I was like, after they kill you, throw up on them or just explode, like because you just ate a bunch of nasty mermaid stuff. Oh. And then like so he did that, and then the PCs were like, oh. So it was fun to watch him play, like, and all this vile and visceral stuff all over him.
There was one event where I was some kind of like golem or something, and in order to advance through my room, they had to perform a play that was based on dice that they rolled. So they had to roll these dice, and they had different symbols on them, and they were required to incorporate those symbols into their play. So one person was like the narrator and would like read off the symbols while everyone else ended up acting it out. And that was so much fun for me to NPC, and then for them to PC. Like, I got to watch everyone's plays, and they were hilarious. Some of these people that are like so serious are like in there like, I'm a tree, and it was just like, it was real funny watching people having to break, their characters. What's up, Nevitz?
Hello, Nevitz.
So that was a lot of fun too. So, but they made it fun to NPC, and they made it fun for the PCs, and it was unique. There was a lot of different things about it that I was it is kind of sad it's over. But.
It is. It triggered the tiny village, because you weren't. I don't know. Were you there for the tiny village?
No, I only NPC'd a few times for them. So
over the weekender, the adventurers came across, and this is like a Gulliver's Travel thing. They came across a village of thousands of tiny people, and they had. They let us set up an elaborate, like, they used sticks as the walls, and they had all these buildings, and army men were like on the building everywhere, and each army man was like 200 or was 10 people, so like so many. And they had the big huge cathedral church right in the middle that had one of the PC's Quinn, a picture of him on it.
Okay, that was that video I saw.
So what had happened, I guess, he had a book of notes and everything, with his name on it, Quinn, that he had dropped in one of the earlier adventures in the Arbor Isles. And so they started to call the ghost the Quinn. And this particular tiny village, I guess, created this image of Quinn, of what they thought Quinn looked like, and they worshipped Quinn as their god. And so when Quinn, the PC, showed up and saw the picture, he was laughing so hard. And he's like, my people! But they're like, no, your head doesn't shine like the sun. You're not the real Quinn. Don't mock our faith. And they were like casting sleep on all these people. And so then like somebody did illuminate and put the illuminate on his head, and they're like, wait, his head does shine like the sun. He is the true Quinn. So he went through and he's trying to move everyone aside. And then like the next two people came through, just destroyed the village. Or just, well, not destroyed it, but like we're knocking over buildings or whatnot. And then like later on, just because it was like this little tunnel and they had to like not step on people or buildings to get through. So I think one of the PCs got sick of it, brought his sword out and just knocked everyone down. And so I was joking, like, not only did they meet their god that day, but they also met their devil.
Oh, that's funny.
And like Chris was like, thousands of people died. But it was just the moment that he saw, because that's what they wanted me to record, the moment when he saw the building with his picture on it. He died. He died. He was laughing so hard. And then his wife saw the picture, and then she was laughing so hard. It was priceless. It was really a funny moment.
That's funny.
Over the weekend.
I saw the video and I really didn't hear any of the audio, and then I saw his picture and I'm like, what is going on here? And the video was titled like the destruction of something, and I'm like, I don't see any destruction though. This village looks perfectly fine, but
yeah, later.
Yeah, later the destruction happened. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, all the buildings were destroyed. Everything, like they ran the whoever survived was often hiding in the woods. You know, they didn't destroy the woods. They just destroyed the entire town. So sad. It's like, murder hobos, you know, tiny people who pose no threat.
You just killed them all because you were frustrated. Wow.
Yeah.
So, what happened with this raid on the village, or what did they end up raiding or something? So the tavern got destroyed.
That was a previous weekender.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weekenders. There was the weekender where the Crusaders found a way, because you weren't there that week. You weren't feeling that well that week.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah.
I thought that happened. I thought it happened again at the Arbor Isles.
No, the Arbor Isles, what happened was, well, you guys ran into Rihari. I don't know if you want to pick up the story. You guys ran into Rihari, and she was turned to a statue, and she was used to fight against you. And what happened was...
Yeah, so as we were jumping from world to world, claiming all the heralds, we get to the end where we discover that Rihari was also captured, and we had to fight her, and
dance.
And a lot of people were enslaved to dance because she was the herald of dance.
So many people were just kind of like, I mean, some people were, some people were actually really getting into the dance, and some people were just kind of standing there doing this. I'm like, come on, guys, get into it. It's not embarrassing if everyone's doing it.
Yeah, so they were throwing out a lot of enslaved, a lot of forced enslaved, and there was even one dire enslaved.
Wow.
Which hit everybody except for me. I used a ritual resist because I refused to dance. And I was able to get to the rest of the candles, get rid of them, and then that solved the problem. But after that, we had discovered that the Crusade had sent a force into Cerelia, into Northwatch, to claim Rihari. So at her grove, she had treants and dryads that were defending her, and it was just a slaughter. All the treants were burned, and the ents were destroyed, and it had spilled over into the town. So there was a lot of surface damage, a lot of cosmetic damage, but nothing was actually destroyed or damaged.
I think the tavern, being the biggest building, was the most damaged of everything. And they figure like all of us who would, like Zyaelah would have still been there, everybody would have still been there, but we were out of Northwatch when this happened, so nobody was actually there to defend it.
Yeah. Proceed with caution. That's Crow.
Oh, hi!
Yo!
So we have Boji and we have Crow in chat right now. So
Nice.
Well, Boji makes sense, but Crow, you're traveling the stars right now. How are you communicating with us?
Well, just for simplicity's sake, if you know who it is. But
I'm teasing.
Yeah, he is traveling the
I gotta
space,
add some.
I guess.
I gotta add some stories to his book. Zyaelah's got a couple Crow stories, really good memories. So
yeah.
Cyrodiil has had interactions with Crow. It's like, how are you? Good, great.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, between the unknown and the unknown. Yep.
Yep, that's about right, dude.
Unknowingly.
Well, he knows why he's there, but he may not know what's going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna change. He might have a long nose 1 minute, he doesn't even know why. I guess that's true.
Traveling the stars on Falcor.
Giggity, yeah.
Sometimes Abner looks like Falcor. Anyway, I have a dog named Abner Yeah, I have a dog named, he's a Shih Tzu. He's like 8.5 pounds, and I bring him on our weekender, so he stays at the camp with us. He usually stays in the tent when I'm not there. If not, he's right next to me all the time, and he loves going into the tavern to get food and whatnot. So this weekend, this past weekender, we had a lunch, and they were going to bring a group of harpies in, and I was just like, please, 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 can Abner be one of the harpies? So we found some wings, put them on him, and he was walking into town, and like everybody was like, oh, because this late pound dog wings that are bigger than him comes in. So I'm doing my little Abner voice. I'm like, hello, I peck out the eyes of my enemies, so be nice to me. Do you have food? I'm here for food. And then I pick him up at one point and I flap his wings so he lands on top of the table. It was everybody was just like, I'm so cute. Oh, I know.
He knows full well what he's doing.
Okay. I figured as much.
Yeah. Yeah, Nevis keeps calling. Who is he with? Which dragon is he with?
I remember him saying it was like all dragons have a big fancy name.
I know.
Yeah.
Nadrak. He's with Nadrak.
Is he Nadrak?
Yeah, and Boji keeps trying to call him Falcor, and he's like, try calling him that in real life and see what happens. So.
Boji will get smashed.
Yes, he will. But, so, okay, I was confused about what happened to the tavern, because I was there when the assault happened, and then when we were at the open house, they were talking about the tavern being in shambles, and I'm like, no, because we fixed it. But apparently it got sort of...
Yeah.
Got hit again.
Yeah, hit again.
When no one was there to defend it.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Except they think they're doing jokes like everywhere, but like this area because the tavern fairy must have protected it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's all the jokes going.
It's always that 10 by 10 foot area that's
the kitchen area that's warded is saved. Yeah,
yeah,
for some reason only that area is warded, not the whole tavern.
Yeah, because they have like a tavern fairy. Like every once in a while, someone will come in as this rainbow-colored, fairy. Will just come in and out. I'm the tavern fairy. I live here. So it's fun when she shows up.
All right. Well, anything else interesting happening over the weekend or
the conclusion?
The conclusion. Yeah. So basically, started with us coming in. We figured, oh hey, cool, we have the airship. So we plotted a course on the airship. We had some ship-to-ship battles with trebuchets and water balloon launchers that they would throw spell packets in, and catapults, and a big ship-to-ship battle. They even had little ropes with grappling hooks that they would throw over and then board.
Dang.
It was so elaborate.
Yeah, it was elaborate. It was fun. Twice, me and another character boarded their ship because they kept coming over us, and we had an opening. And I'm like, all right, let's do it, because we had a chance. And I got over there, and I was fighting off everybody pretty well because I had a nice shield and my axe, and I was just taking everything until their overpowered obsidian golems came out, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to use all my defenses and jump back over to the other side, only to have 5-10 minutes later someone else go over there, die, and then they had their soul siphoned.
Oh.
And it sucked because we had more than one opportunity where they were depleted on units for the time being while they were respawning for us to get over there and take them down. But no one ever did. Until finally, Cosimo, who's the leader of the Brotherhood of the Dark Star, which is all Black Knights, finally like, charge! And then everyone's like, yeah, okay. And then we went over there and finally finished it. Where we were then attacked by Nefiri, one of the heralds. She was actually on the mast, or the front part where the...
they have the mermaid there?
Yeah, usually at the front of the ship where there's... She broke out of a stone thing and started turning on everyone. I got enslaved and actually started dropping everybody. And then got to the other side, started dropping everybody until they finally stopped me. They were able to defeat her and free her, collecting a shard, which we needed to open the door to get into the main ending. I actually was then chained up with actual...
I was wondering why you were chained.
Plastic chains, but they were, irons, and I was sitting there for the 20 minutes because enslaved lasts 30 minutes. And the last 30 seconds, I was finally able to move my foot over to one side where someone had left a sword, scrape it up, and then started swinging at people while still broken until Squire, a member of the Brotherhood, came over and just death blowed me. And it was funny because it was another member of the Dark Star that had left that sword there. And I was right next to their captain who was guarding me the whole time. So that was, I'm like, can you at least move over to the side so I can pace? So I paced for a minute. And then I was able to get it because it was easy to trick them. Because they weren't expecting it. They were like, oh, he's chained up. He's fine. It's like,
yeah, he's chained. Let's see. Charge never works well with the Adventures of Northwatch. Well, it does with the Dark Star because there's like 5 or 6 of them, and that's a good majority of the party at that point. So when you have that many that do move, it's kind of a mob mentality at that point in time. So in that instance, it actually works.
Yeah, as opposed to someone else who's already there, has a foothold for like a good minute or two, and no one comes over to help.
Yeah.
Well, but one of you kept getting hit by
Yes,
drains.
they were healing me.
Oh, they were. I mean, it was so because I was an NPC and I was just like, yes, I get to beat up on Nikki, and I'm just like going to town trying to get him, and then I go like, 10 drain, stop it! So then I would try to hit the spell packet so they would stop healing him. I was getting so frustrated. I was like, no, we must kill this thing.
The next thing we had was we had to leave the ship on multiple occasions to venture to the different worlds. One of the other events that we had was on our travel there, we were attacked by a giant bird, which, because the weight of it was on the ship as it was attacking us, was weighing us down and slowing us down. We had to kill it, drop it. The next event was we fought rot. Like the tree was rotting.
Oh.
Geppetto was turning the tree to stone to try and kill it, and its way of healing itself was this rot that was affecting the stone, but it was also kind of evil and dark stuff dropped off and was attacking everything. At which point we had to fight a lot of those. We had to travel across giant branches, around this way, across the road, because we're up in the canyon, so the road, cuts through the middle of the valley, and so we had to split, and that was used as like this big branch that we had to breathe, hold our breath, and run through. And that happened twice.
Oh, yeah, it took you guys forever.
Well, because it was silly, because it was a distance that they had to run while holding their breath, or they could glide if they had a feather. And they were just sitting there for the entire time. So me and one other person ran through, and then we were attacked. And they're like, they need help, and they run through, and we killed it. And it was so slow. And finally, they started to pick up and get over.
Well, I think because people kept that's what I heard. People kept spiriting, so then they had to wait 5 minutes for their spirit to come back together. Because they're ghosts at this point, so if they got put into their death count or whatever, then they have to spend 5 minutes, with their ghostiness coming back together. Yeah. So I heard there was a lot of that. Yeah, the ectoplasm coming back together. So I heard there was a lot of that. The one fight that I took the most pictures of was it Nephilia? With Candace as this bird. And in the fight, she's sitting on a chair with these huge wings with feathers on it, because he mentioned feathers. So before that, and she's got all these feathers on her. And the mechanic was everybody had a chair, so you had to be on a chair. And someone was steering the...
Yeah, the chairs represented giant eagles.
So somebody was steering it, and the other person was fighting it? Yeah. So, and you only had, how many,
5 steps.
5 steps?
But as big as you wanted to jump for the step.
Mm-hmm. And then you had to go up, and essentially the first part of the fight was they had to pull off all the feathers to ground her. And then they fought her on the ground. And that was fun watching, because it was just because they're just everybody hopping here, there, and everywhere. And it kind of kept, because normal fights against a big bad, there's 500 people surrounding them, hitting them, and the NPC can't do anything. Well, this one or two people maybe were nearby just to pull off a feather, and then she'd strike them, possibly killing the bird. How many birds were lost? We lost,
I think we had 10, and we only had 3 left by the time.
So if the bird that you're sitting on died, you fell, and another bird would come in and swoop down and save you. And we had one team that did that twice, and of course I'm recording them as they're standing off to the side going, ah! And I love that role playing again, they're falling, so this is how we fall.
Yeah, especially while you see them falling, because you just think it's them, we're acting as the falling before the bird comes and gets it, and then you see an air elemental run by and go, shock you 3! And then...
as they're falling, shocking them while they fell.
Oh, man. It's brutal.
Yeah. We have a video of that one.
Yeah,
actually.
I've got a video. I put that up on Facebook as well. because it was just fun. Just again, the moments where you can role play and actually like, this is really happening. This is how I would act, or whatever. It was fun. It was fun. It was a different fight. So then that's how they got the feathers. That if you had the feather, then you could kind of float or fly.
Yeah.
And then you had to do the thing where you were holding your breath to.
Yeah.
And then eventually, and after that is when you got to the tiny village.
So the worlds we visited was the tiny village, the bunny world, and a gladiatorial world, where everyone came in. They had the option of being a combatant in a gladiatorial tournament, where we were all given the same stats. And then the other people were told that you don't have to participate in the combat. There will be other ways for you to help, which wasn't true. They just kind of sat there, which bothered a couple people because, like, I would have fought if I knew that. So that one was interesting because I'm an honor-bound warrior. I'm a fighter. I love to fight. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do this totally. And I'm sitting there going, I'm like, yeah, we'll fight here, we'll fight there. And they broke it down into 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, and 3s-on-3s. Well, one of the characters, who I believe is just a gambler by nature or just an annoying person, he was trying to fix the fights. He was telling our PCs to lose the fight to Squire, one of the members of the Brotherhood. So that way they could rank him up to the highest position and then fight the winner, their champion. And I overheard Newell talking to Squire, saying, oh, yeah, you attack me, hit me with this, and I'll take it, and I'll drop, and you'll win. And I'm just like, don't do that. Fight for real. And I had later talked to Squire about it, because we're both knights. We have our codes that we live by. Well, I'm not technically a knight, but I live by my own code.
Yeah.
And he's not officially a knight, but he's trying to be. He's kind of a squire named Squire. It's complicated. And so we have honor, and we're like, I talked to him afterwards. I'm like, were you participating in this? Did you know of this? And were complicit? And he's like, I knew of it, but I did not do it because, same as you, it was dishonorable to do such a thing.
Squire would have been the worst person he could have chosen because or you. I mean, either way, because you're not going to go along with it.
And me and him were the only ones winning our fights.
Yeah.
So it was a funny choice, and it actually did come down to me and Squire in the final fight for first place. And up until this point, we had chosen multitude of weapons. We would dual wield, we would sword and shield, sword and board, and we'd do pole arms. And this last one, he had said, hey, would you like to do pole arms to make it more interesting, since we've mostly done sword and shield this whole fight? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be interesting. So it came down to us. We were fighting. I accidentally actually dropped my spear because he hit it good enough that I dropped it. And then I was able to pick it back up, and then he maimed my arm, so I couldn't use that arm. And it's, with the pole arms, you have to use two arms to attack. But with one arm, you could still defend. So like for a good 10-15 seconds, I'm backing up, blocking everything that he's throwing at me until I regain the use of my arm. And then it comes down to the last little bit where I trip him, so he's on the ground, and I go in for the kill, but he is able to tap me before I'm able to finish him. I go down, and he won. And he had said later, it's like, if you didn't drop your spear, you would have beaten me because I only had like 2 hits left. I'm like, darn.
Must have been a good fight to watch, though, because I wasn't there. I'm so sad I missed that one.
Yeah, because both Josh and myself, Squire and Cyril, in-game and out-of-game, were totally down for either winning or losing that fight, because it was an honorable fight. We both didn't participate in the plot to throw the fights and cheat the gambling ring, and the outcome was just as fine as well, because the winner got to fight Cermak, the herald of I can't remember what he was, the herald, but he was their
Probably
champion representative, and
the Warriors.
And so Squire got to face off against him in another really good fight. It was more because everyone else in the other fights were just like bam, bam, boom, boom. This one was 2 masters, so it was very slow. It was very methodical and strategic, and they had to plan it out. So it was very intense. It was a good fight.
Yeah, I guess I was sleeping. I don't ever sleep on the weekenders. I just can't. So I think during the day I kind of maybe was lucky enough to fall asleep for an hour or two. And when I woke up and found out I missed those fights, I was like, I would have loved to have watched. It would have been so much fun. to have seen just from knowing how you guys fight and Josh, whenever he NPCs, he's one of those people when he NPCs you just hate it because you're like, no, you're too good. I can't get the hits on you as well. Yeah. There's a couple of them a couple people who like when you or Josh or Braden or a lot of people when they NPC, I'm like no, I'm tired.
It was funny too because the polearm is both of our main weapons. Generally, Cyrodiil wields a spear, and his other character, Reginald, who's a big wizard, has a glaive type weapon, and we both remaining that. But I had given mine to be remade and updated, and he hasn't played Reginald for a long time, so we were both out of touch in our polearm abilities. Otherwise, it would have been a much more interesting fight. Mm-hmm. After that world. The conclusion basically led us to, after Rahari was the last one, we broke down this door and went through and we encountered a golem construct representative of Geppetto.
That's right.
And he was basically talking to us saying, I've been here this whole time. I don't see him that often. He, in fact, left forever just yesterday. And I've been commissioned with taking care of this girl. We're like, what are you talking about? So we find out that there's a girl that he had saved some time ago that he had accompanied with him in kind of a pseudo-daughter type situation.
I think like 30 years, I think is what he had said.
It's been a long time. And when he went to the tree and was trying to siphon off of its power to gain it himself, it didn't choose him because he wasn't pure. But because the girl was in the area, the power went to her instead. So now she became this omnipotent being.
Yeah, like one of the PCs was like, oh, well, can you like revive all the people who've recently died and turn the undead back to living? And she's like, okay. And he was like, what? That's when they were like, we got to be very careful what we ask this little girl because she can just, yeah, sure. And then that's when your ghost bodies disappear and your real bodies. You finally got your real bodies and that. So that was a fun moment watching, like, again, the PCs figuring this out because it was just like, well, can you do that? Yeah, sure, blink. Oh, wait, I didn't mean, like, oh, it was really cool.
Yeah, so he had been using this little girl to make cleanse or mystic type weapons, lanterns that created an area of effect burst that would hurt any undead in the area for him because he couldn't do it. He's like, hey, can you make this for me? And he's like, okay. And so that's where he was getting his weaponry. But he had also created a machine called the Great Machine, which is a chair that collected a bunch of siphoned souls. So when in the past we talked about, you sucked your soul out of you or siphoned it, the entire time, anytime a living creature would die, their soul would pop up and go and disappear. And we're like, he's collecting them, something bad's happening. And that goes along with the thing is like, we shouldn't kill these people. They're like, but they're bad people. It's like, yes, but killing them is also feeding him. And they're like, that's not true. You have no evidence. So he ends up putting like 10,000 souls into him. Oh, wow. Absorbing all of his power, becoming as strong as a herald himself. And then skipping town.
Yeah, so he's out there. So he'll probably show up at some point.
Yeah. So we talked to the girl. We're like, hey, how you doing? Got her out of the room she's been trapped in for so long.
Any explanation as to why she's still a girl after 30 years?
It's what she wanted to be.
Oh.
She can choose whatever form she wants.
Yeah.
And she had 3 stuffed animals, pancake waffles, and I forgot what bacon, I think was the third one. I don't know, but breakfast foods. And I was Pancake the rabbit. So I stayed by her and was very protective. We were just golem constructs that looked like stuffed animals.
Very strong.
So like when Banner came in, he was in first investigating. We didn't attack him, but he attacked us. And so then he left. And so that's why she came out. She's like, yeah, I'm real sorry that we attacked you. I didn't mean to hurt you. Just, whatever wish you want, and I'll grant it. And so that's where that little, like, and so he was just kind of like wanting to wish this. And everybody was like, no, Banner, you know what your wish is. You should wish it. And that's when, like, her dad was just like, the game runner, Chris, was like, she's like, okay, I know. And that's when she turned him into the little dragon. Because she felt bad that her little puppets, because she doesn't want to hurt anybody. She wants everybody to, be happy and all be friends and all that stuff. And so
yeah, at which point there was a lot of discussion as to what to do. So we returned the heralds to their forms. We asked the heralds to not participate in ruling these people because they neglected them and led to this in the first place. So to step back, to let them govern themselves. We returned all the undead to people and restored mystic powers to everybody. And I think there was one other big thing. Earlier in one of the adventures, we had encountered a giant caldera, a volcano that was frozen over, and inside of it was this giant world serpent that was released and had picked a couple of us, myself, 2 members of the Brotherhood of the Dark Star, and like 1 or 2 other people that were just there to kind of communicate with it and get information and a little bit of abilities. Nothing really extended. We were able to swing for ice. And it came to a head at the end where the World Tree's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I was only sticking around to watch you guys because this was entertaining. But I'm going to go
Not
and
the
travel.
World Tree, the serpent.
The serpent at the World Tree at the end. It's like, I'm going to leave. And everyone's like, no, what? This is a thing we released upon the world. We can't let it go off and start feeding and destroying other worlds. And it's like, we can't stop it.
Yeah.
And it wants to leave. And so there was a bargain made with the child sent her to our world, which is what people didn't want.
The child didn't. She didn't. She just... It could go on its own.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be permission or sent. It was just a deal like, hey, we have this place in Toroth or whatever.
Yeah.
And
well, it was eventually going to get around to going there.
Yeah.
Which was fine, but because people were upset about it, they just ended up sending it there immediately.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Yeah. And then there was a crown that the little girl was wearing, plus a gem that was not in the crown.
Yeah.
And they were going to put the gem in the crown and put the crown on the girl, just to kind of rein in her powers.
Yeah. The idea was that they believed that the crown and the Raven's Eye, the stone, would seal something, like reduce its power to minimal or nothing.
Oh, yeah?
She only had the crown, so they thought it was minimizing it. But what they didn't know, which I did if they had this conversation while I was
you
there.
guys were talking about this. You guys were having there were like 3 different conversations going on.
Is...
And I'm an MP. I'm a rabbit following the little girl, so I'm bouncing around as she's moving. So I get to overhear every single little conversation.
But if I was there for that one, I could have told them, no, you don't want to put the stone in the crown and put the crown on the child because that will banish her forever to hell.
So when the heralds told them that, they were like, oh, well, I'm glad we didn't do that.
Wow.
But they're holding on to it for whenever What's-His-Butt shows up. They're like, well, then we'll just save it for him.
Yeah.
So they have a solution for him whenever he shows up, inevitably, down the road.
Yeah, but if he's that strong in hell, he might take over hell.
Well, as long as he stays there.
We already know that demons don't like to stay in their domains.
No.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Especially when they're that powerful, they never want to stay where they're supposed to stay.
Yeah. We don't know what exactly is going to happen because he hopped in the World Tree and went to some other realm. So whether or not he came to Cerelia or a different place is unknown.
Yeah.
We'll see if anything comes of it.
I keep treating him like he's a living creature. I'll scratch his ears and I'll pet his... I'm like, he's just this stuffed animal. But like, I just have this... He's not Nut. He's Zyaelah's little friend, and I'll be carrying him around, petting him and everything while we're playing, because, you know, he's a little furry little creature. And so I have that habit of, like, petting him, and I'm like, I've been petting him.
That's all
He's a
right.
real little thing, but
That's part of your role
Yeah,
play.
no, that's great.
he's super cute.
And the finale of it was after we got everything settled, they're like, okay, we're going back. So I was thinking, I'm like, well, we shouldn't do that because they're just like, yeah, let the people govern themselves without any direction or guidance because the heralds were asked to step back.
Yeah, that's
so I said, I'm going to stay and I'm going to kind of mediate. So I started working together with the allies that we had accumulated with the merfolk and the dryads and all that, and then start approaching the humans, the Galenians, and start trying to do peace talks and organize a council, world leaders, so that they can create their own laws and say how we're going to deal with this, and also start working on because they were split into people who were like, okay, the Crusaders, yeah, we're going to step back, we'll surrender, that's cool. Others are like fanatics. They're like, no, we're going to keep fighting forever. So I'm dealing with both of those forces as well, trying to utilize what people surrendered and wanted to peace. I'm like, all right, let's go talk to the fanatics with the humans, not using any of the demi-humans because they hate them, and trying to work something out. If it doesn't go peacefully, we'll have a conflict. And that's a downtime role play that I'm working through with them right now, so we'll see how that goes. But they're going to be okay having someone who's like, because with my tribe, I had led them through kind of a nomadic wasteland for a while, and we didn't have any purpose or design until later, where we finally found a place to settle and start building a society. So I have a little bit of background, a little bit of history on how to do that. So that's why I'm working with them on that. And that's the end of the Ghostwalker campaign.
Everyone came back to Northwatch and found the remnants of the battle with Rikari and everything destroyed.
Oh, and those who still had parts of their soul siphoned are still permanently damaged.
And they couldn't recover any of the soul
Well, they had an
siphons.
item to do it, but they didn't do it before they left.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
One of those things that just got caught up in the moment. Everyone forgets about it, and they're just like, "Hey, we're done. Let's leave." So,
Yeah.
do they know what the effects are of being damaged?
No. The campaign runners are going to speak to the overall runners and find out how that's going to affect their in-game
Gotcha.
play.
Yeah.
So they probably will. We just don't know what the consequences are yet.
So that was the Weekender.
It was a lot of fun.
I think we went over everything.
Dang, I'm kind of bummed I missed it.
Yeah, it was fun. But it was cold though. It was really cold.
Did you post those videos on the Mythic Realms Facebook?
Not yet. What I want to do is because I have other pictures of it. I just haven't had time to do this, but I want to put it up on Drive and then invite Mythic Plot to access the Drive so that they can put whatever pictures up, because there's a lot more pictures than what I've posted and a lot more video and stuff. So I want to have all those pictures in that for maybe them to maybe put all on the official Mythic Facebook page photos
okay.
and stuff like that. I haven't set it up on the Drive yet.
Cody says, "Woot!"
Yeah, because it'll be fun to have, because like I had July, it was the July Weekender. We were up not Middle Canyon.
That was that new one.
Yeah.
I didn't go to that one.
Yeah, super high up, like 7,000 feet up or whatever.
Was it nice and cool at least because you were that high?
It was really sunny. It was like wear your sunscreen, but it was nice. But I had my mom and so we tried to talk me into going in with you, and your fault for not talking me into it. Who's that?
It's my fault for not talking you into it? I can only do so much. Yeah, I wanted to take her up so I could NPC for a little bit and she'd get some footage of it. For
my
a
mom-
project she was doing. Not the July one, this last one. but-
Gotcha. Well, I got a lot of recordings and pictures, so I got a lot. Because I was just, my stomach was just not happy that weekend, so I'm like, I'll just run around and take pictures. And I'm so glad because there were so many great moments. The one up in July, I took my mom and my niece. She'd never LARP, never heard of it, and I'm like, well, guess what? You guys are coming in to visit. We're gonna go LARP. And my mom, her character name is Annie Oakley. She didn't play too much. She's had some knee surgery, so she's sort of. But she took pictures, so I want to throw up them pictures. But some of the pictures were real fuzzy. Like not a lot of them came out as clear as I would have liked. So I've been just going through. I went through some of them, but my niece she had some fun playing and whatnot. So my mom's like, if I were younger, in my younger years, I would have been part of it. I would have definitely been out there LARPing.
You still can do it now.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, she lives in San
I mean,
Luis.
she's in
Yeah,
she's
I
in
know.
Missouri, but she's got bad knees, so the running around and hiking and all that. But yeah, this weekend it was super cold though. So if you didn't go, I mean, at least you were warm because it was so freezing. But
It wouldn't have been as bad if it didn't rain.
yeah, it rained Friday night, and then it was cloudy Saturday, so the sun never got to the place to warm it up on Saturday. Sunday was nice. Sunday was perfect.
Yeah.
It was just so Saturday night, I've got hand warmers thrown in my sleeping bag, and I have 2 different sleeping bags that I was in because somebody let me borrow one, and I think that's another reason why I wasn't feeling well because I just was not warm. I had to go into I went into town a couple times, so I can be in the heat of my car. With my dog, with Abner, so that he can warm up too. So, but yeah, that was the Wednesday event. I became a citizen, and Weekender, we We close up 2 storylines. I'm kind of worried, like, what are we doing next now with this storyline? Because the Talsagor and the Arboreal storylines. I'm like,
I know we just ended 2 huge things, so
yeah, right on top of each other.
I know that I'm working on my shield thing, which is gonna take a little bit. And I found out that it's gonna actually be a module, so that's good.
I'm excited to go on that one.
I'm not scared out of my mind.
Oh man, I'm excited.
With what I was told about what we're gonna encounter, I'm like, oh my god.
You're gonna have Zyaelah with you. She's awesome.
You know, unless she gets enslaved, then apparently kills little children. So
I can resist. No, I can cite. No, I have anticipate. I don't know if it does anticipate blows help with enslavement. Can you sidestep that?
Anything that does a resist mind control, like disguise, or if you get a dodge or an evade or a sidestep.
Because I have an anticipate blow.
So that would give you a sidestep.
Okay.
or the warden ability.
Yeah.
Shield then axe. Yeah, we're gonna try to get 2 seeds while we're there if we have time. So
Nice.
we'll see.
We'll see.
And well, we also have to find out. I need to find out about the sword before we go.
Shield then axe.
Yeah. So there's 4 armaments of the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So Boji, my brother, has the hammer of autumn. There's the shield of spring, the sword of summer, and also the axe of winter.
Okay.
Like we said, the sword of summer supposedly is in Timmy's hands, but when we talked to the Quickling, he said something about how it's lost in the Oblivion. And so we were like, what? We were like, well, we were under the impression that it's in Timmy's hands. So we have to... In fact, have you reached out to him, Boji? You were supposed to send a message, but we were supposed to reach out to Timmy to find out if he still has it or not, or something happened while he was fighting, or something happened. We don't know. But the Quickling could have been wrong, because he's like, oh, that's news to me. So
Yeah.
we now have to find out where it is, because if it's gone, we want to try to get it reforged again, too, because there's a legend that if all 4 armaments are brought together, something grandiose will happen. And that's what we're trying to do.
I'd be interested in participating in one because I'm one of the few axe wielders in town. Made it myself. I got a halberd head that I attached to a smaller frame. I'd be interested in participating in that.
Well, we have someone that actually came forward and wanted the axe. So yeah, you're a bit too late. But we don't have anyone for the sword though. If the sword is actually gone, we're looking for someone for the sword. So, but the sword is like a lot of cleanse and stuff like that. But I recently got a tune.
I need to learn how to fight with a sword.
Well, on the axe, I don't know that you necessarily, because I've seen some of the abilities for the axe, and they're not very honorable. So, well, not necessarily for the axe, but like when I was going to be attuned, I caught a brief glimpse of what the other attunements would have done.
Okay.
And the winter attunements were a lot of like backstabs and stuff like that.
Ah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, he said that some of my personality actually does lean towards winter. Not that I'm like backstabby, but because I'm like stout, and like I guess winter is stout and whatever. So like I'm a defender, and winter is like I guess a defender or something like that. So
It stopped many an army.
yeah, I mean that could have been how he was thinking of it. So, but because I'm nourishing and a few things like that, I was able to, and because my heart was in it for spring, it was just eked out just barely that I was able to get attuned to spring, so that when I grab that seed, it's more likely to attune itself to me.
Okay.
So
That'd be cool to get a sword of cleanse for the healer.
Well, I do that as well. I
see
try to
that.
make myself a versatile fighter. So I do the sword and shield. I do the sword and axe and the pole arms. I mix it up often. So even the sword would be great because I don't have any magical weapons.
yeah, we need to find out on that, and hopefully we'll find out soon. But I'm waiting for a response from Plot, because I sent the druid that's helping me with this. I sent him a pigeon earlier this week, and I'm supposed to be getting a response at some
I'm glad you're in
point. So
contact with.
yeah, well, he wasn't. He was in like a self-imposed exile, I guess you could say, not for like negative reasons. He just was kind of like, I'm meditating or something. Yeah, he was just gone, and now he's back, like because of me. So
Well, that's good.
and he was supposed to come to the Weekender. We were supposed to have a little mini module on the Weekender, and that was the one I actually talked to you about. Everyone was like, after that Talsagor fight, everyone was like,
Yeah, we were
I'm
done.
spent. I'm spent.
Because we were There's a lot of modules that were supposed to happen that just didn't happen because the NPCs and like everybody was just so tired.
That Talsagor fight was just so long, and then they were also doing the thank you module for people that NPC'd, and so there was half the people that were going to come with me too. We're going to go to that module, so we ended up doing something different. That's why that quick link showed up and gave me all this information. But so talking to the druid Gilbereth, and hopefully he can tell me something about my aspect of the beast too, because
Zyaelah doesn't know anything about it.
You're a druid.
I know. Like, I guess we can kind of talk about classes because I'm a druid, but the problem is there were the druid classifications, and then they changed a lot of it, and I think he on our way here he said that everybody was given a paper for the updates to their classes, and I wasn't playing during that time, so I didn't know. And plus, I just became level 2, and I think the beast is part of level 3 druid.
Is it actually a druid ability?
Kind of, yeah, because we were looking at the or I don't know if you wanted to pull
let's pull up the.
I know we had it
so
up there.
Scroll down to the
page 25 is the druid. There's the classes, because this is the updated stuff, and so and I'm the kind of person, like, if I don't need to know it, I don't know it.
Yeah, I don't know any of the other classes either. Like, when it came to trying to find out what my second class is, which I'm very far from, I had people tell me about it. So
level 3, if you scroll into the next page, has let me see. So I think they may have gotten rid of the aspect of the beast, because in the old book, because there's the older stuff where they talk about it, but then I know they updated it, and I don't see it. It's kind of they switched it to where, like, abilities happen around season. Like right now, September 1st and November 30th, I can use earth damage type at will. I haven't made claws yet, but I can grow claws and hit people for earth with my claws. Oh, wow. But I'm thinking with my staff, I can probably hit with earth as well. I've got a big, huge staff. It's a great pillow whenever we're waiting or whatever. But yeah, it looks like if you scroll down a little bit more, let's see if there's anything on the next page for level 3. Yeah, there it is. Aspect of the beast. So like on my next, if I do want to go up to level 3 druid, I would know. But right now I'm still learning, so I haven't been taught it, so I wouldn't know it. But yeah, that's where you can
see. And that was the other thing that I got, is that I can mimic. So if a druid casts one of those spells, the spring one specifically, I can immediately copy it. Yeah. So if you do the I incant the spring or whatever, I can copy it. So that was the other thing that each one of the elements did. So for example, the winter one let you copy the winter druid ability if they cast it. So I won't be able to use that ability until spring, because you can't use that ability until spring. So that's actually kind of cool that the druid abilities are based on the seasons for real life, I guess, the actual seasons in the real world. So that's kind of cool.
I just got 200 points where I can get second level druid. So I'm not even, I don't think I've been in game really where I can use those.
Yeah,
so
you
much.
haven't had the training yet, which you have to have. So.
Yeah, as you level up, you start at 20 skill points. When you get to 100, you can pick up your first class. And there's a list of like 25 to 30 classes.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That you can choose from. At first level is 100 skill points. Second level is 200. And third level is 300. You can either go all into one class, or you can multi-class and do one at 100, one at 200, and then second level into third, or second level into your second one. At 500 skill points, you then get another level, and then at 700, you get your last level. So you can have a total of 5. 3 in one and 2 in another.
Classes have gone through so many changes over the years. Yeah, they have. Like when I very first started, there was a class that could dual wield and heal through their weapon. Kind of like Theurge, but Theurge, it wasn't even called that. But even so, Theurge is reminiscent of that, but it's still a completely different class than what that was.
There's a class, because we were looking at the classes on our way here. And let me grab the book, because there was one class.
There's 2 that kind of fall under that purview. Grey Hunter, which is kind of a mystic rogue, and Spellblade, which is a elemental fighter.
What was the C one? Hold on.
Capsari?
Yeah.
Is that a new one?
Well, that's what I wanted to. I was like, ooh, after I get done with Druid, I might because one of them is gain the ability to delay cast, gain the ability to expend your force field, lay on hands, cast grant vitality, spell strike, healer's touch. Maybe I got confused because I'm not seeing it here. But yeah, I know we were looking at them, and one of them was like you can heal through or cast your spells through weapons and that, which I know I see. I always saw Zyaelah do, and I thought that'd be cool. She stuck a knife into people and heal them.
Yeah, that was Theurge.
So that must have been it.
Yeah, that was Theurge, which I was going to go for a little while for my second class, but then I kind of Theurge level 1. Yeah, that's a lot. That's the nice thing is the level 1 ability lets you do that. But I kind of respec out of healing. And I did it right before Winterfest, so Zyaelah was not very happy with me. She's like, timing, man, timing. We could have used another healer on this. I'm like, well, my bad, you know. So I literally did it right before Winterfest, so we had one less healer. But I still am kind of on the fence for my second class. Like I was going to go Warlock because of the ancestral aspect of it, which would really play into like my background and my bio. But now, because I've got the aspect of the beast and now the shield of, the spring warrior attunement, I'm kind of leaning towards druid now. So, like, I don't necessarily know.
Yeah, and I brought my
but that's a long ways away.
I brought my the path of the Earthwalker.
Oh, yeah, you want to read that?
Yeah. So, to be a druid, you have to, and to benefit from the class, because as I was reading some of the class things, because I can grant animal speech, so we can talk with animals. But if I don't follow the path of the Earthwalker, I can't do that. So there's some things like if you don't follow this, you can't do these abilities. The path of the Earthwalker is an Earthwalker is at one with the earth and sky. He strives for mastery over himself. He has the fortitude to know and to dare. He is always a student and a seeker of wisdom. He is reborn through the act of sacrifice. He maintains the natural order and balance. He is a warden of the wild and defends his territory with his whole being. He is as bloodkin to others of the Earthwalkers. He is as bloodkin to others of the Earthwalkers' path. Sorry. He is loyal to his family and protects them with the ferocity of a wolf, which Zyaelah has always been. So that one's like easy. He does not abuse the gifts of nature to do the evils of men. Grants not nature's blessings to those he calls foe. As one with the land, an Earthwalker shall never needlessly frighten an animal, tear plants and trees, violate an oath he has made, fail to defend another Earthwalker, allow blight to taint his lands. And an Earthwalker follows the ebb and flow of nature. He is as strong and enduring as the mountain, brave and faithful as the wolf, silent and watchful as the owl, calm and thoughtful as the glade, terrible and powerful as
See, maybe I should go druid and follow the path of the Earthwalker, because then I literally would be a warden that defends the planet.
Yeah! Jovi, the warden of the Zyaelah.
Jordan, warden of the planet. I wonder how many skill points that would take for me to claim the Earth as my bond.
Jeez. That would be... Yeah.
I think I'll list off the classes that there are, and then we'll talk about the ones that we function with mostly. So there's Aegis, which is a physical warrior who is defensive. There's Arcane Bulwark, who is a magical defensive unit. Assassin, pretty self-explanatory. Bard, they use mimic magic and music or dance to buff everybody.
Well, and they just recently changed that so that like you actually had to do a performance, and we have a bard in town who, at the Tal Segor event, she actually played her guitar and sang a song to empower us, and it was probably one of the recent coolest events that we've had, because she's literally in town playing and singing a song, and she's like, now you guys all have this ability in the fight. We were like, that's flipping dope.
Yep. So, she did that at the Arbor Isles weekend.
Yeah, I love it. I love that they incorporated that.
Because it makes sense. The bard sings or performs or acts or something.
That was cool. Though.
Theatrical.
We got a Berserker, who is a rage warrior.
Boji and Crow.
We have a Black Knight, which is like a dark paladin. Capsurier, which is kind of a healer, a little bit not as great as the Thurge. A Dreadlord, which is a necromantic / abyssal. I don't know what the changes they've made to it, because they recently adjusted it. I don't know if they went more necromantic, because I think it used to be more abyssal.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like a an anti-Thurge. Druid, person of nature. Eldritch Soul, which is a new one. I believe they tried to make this kind of like a warrior mage type.
Yeah, I think that was right.
Elementalist, you're able to...
No abyssal classes.
No abyssal, okay.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Elementalist, you're able to pick an element for the day and then gain all the benefits for that, so you can actually receive healing from that type of element if you receive damage from that.
That's cool.
Expert Adventurer, which kind of dabbles in a little bit of stuff.
You are, right?
Yeah. Grey Hunter, which is a mystic rogue. They sneak attack and heal as well. Infiltrator, someone who does disguises and multiple abilities to be able to blend in with people. Jack of all trades, kind of similar to Expert Adventurer, but more capable. They have more abilities that they have access to. Marksman, which is ranged, kind of ranger. Basically, all your abilities go for using bows and thrown weapons. Master Artisan, which is a non-combative class, where basically you get bonuses for crafting. Monk, since we don't have anyone who actually punch and kick, you have red weapons that are representative of claws or hand weapons that you use. Ranger, lesser of a druid, has some nature abilities, but also has more of like tracking type. Scoundrel, which is a dirty fighter. They'll use backstabs, random weapons.
Pirates.
Scout, it's kind of similar to Ranger. They have tracking abilities, but also hiding abilities. Shadow, which is someone that generally will use darker magic, not necessarily necromancy, but they like to hide in the shadows more or less. They're sneaky fighters. Spellblade, which is someone who will be able to cast weapons through their spells.
I think that's what the room, right?
Cast spells through their weapons. Not the other one.
I want to cast weapons through my spells, though.
Right.
I throw a knife.
I throw swords.
Yeah, just start throwing weapons. The spiritualist, who delves with all of the supernatural spirits and undeads.
That's what Leon is.
Mm-hmm. Swashbuckler, which is also a piratey thing. They get bonuses for wielding one weapon, and they can very maneuverable. Thurge, which is like a cleric. They're the main hardcore healers.
Yep.
Thug, kind of a brute. I'd say a little bit of combination of the Scoundrel and Berserker with some of their things. Vault Breaker, which is a new one. I think that replaced the Thief.
Okay.
Haven't read up on that one quite yet.
Yeah, it seemed like it's just you can unlock things easier, quicker.
So probably more of also the Master Artisan and non-combative class.
One of the Rins might want to go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Warden.
Yeah, that's what I am.
So, a guardian for other characters. War Master. They're battle-hardened warriors, basically with abilities to make normal abilities force abilities.
Yeah, that's Boji's. That's his second class.
Nice.
White Knight, similar to a paladin. Witch and Warlock, which do a lot in curses and alchemical type things. Not so much in this one. That's more alchemy is more of its own thing, but they kind of still fall into that realm a little bit. And then Wizard, which is your general caster, but with extra abilities. They used to be able to cast from anything. I don't know if they still did that because they updated the Wizard as well. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown. If we're still on the Druid thing, if you want to finish up, talk about the different type of stuff that you can do.
Well, and the way I became a druid, Zyaelah became a druid, was actually really natural. Because like my first year, we befriended a white knight, Brunt, and I just didn't agree with killing everything on sight. Like, we'd fight wolves, and I'd be like, why can't we just feed them and let them go away? Like, why do we have to kill them as soon as we see them? I really hated that. And I've had some shouts, I've had some PTSD role play with just how quick to kill everyone is. And so Brunt was like, you sound like you would do well as a druid. So that might be something, that I'd look into. And then I met another PC who's a druid, and then a druid came into town and we talked, and so I decided, I'm just going to do first class. I'm just going to be a druid. Because we are light on druids. We actually don't have a lot of druids or a lot of people with like, you know, a lot of the nature mastery and all that stuff. So that was also another reason why it appealed to me, because like everyone seems to be a fighter or this or that. I'm like, I want to be something that no one else is, because I want to basically fulfill a need that is there in the group. And then I disappeared for a year in the woods, or as I was sick. But the first thing I picked up was do the incant I summon nature, because the thing about being a spellcaster is you have to summon time and space, or I summoned air, or I summoned earth, or I summoned, you know, heal, whatever. I summon life. You have to remember every incant for every spell. But with I summon nature, that's all I say. I don't have to remember anything else. I summon nature to do whatever the heck I want to do. And that was really important to me, because I could not remember. I'd be like, I summoned something to do whatever. I couldn't remember it. Oops, there goes my crown. And then I could grow claws, and I could talk with grant animal speech, which I love the grant animal speech, because it's so much fun to like just to go up to Wolf and be like, grant animal speech, and try to reason with the Wolf to, you know, like just take this food and go. We don't want to kill you. You know, and then people who don't see me cast animal speech are like, why is this thing talking now? Why can we suddenly understand this?
We
thing
actually
talking?
Needed your grant animal speech with that butterfly, the moth that came to talk to me. So
yeah, so it was funny, because the last weekender there was a moth that kept coming into town from the druid that he was trying to connect, and everything. And the moth eventually recognized me, and I think like the second or third time the moth came to town, like came straight to me. Oh yeah, here, animal speech. And then he went and off to talk to you guys. It was so funny. And like the actor playing was like, this is how he was talking, using his hands as his mouth for the moth.
yeah, super beneficial.
Yeah, and then I just got to level 2, which, you know, I can do different things during different seasons and that, but I would need a little training on that, because I mean, I just like within the last month or so I haven't really been on a lot of adventures where I've started using it.
So the thing about classes is, he was talking about like 100, 200, 300. That's the threshold in order to gain another level in that class, but you still have to spend skill points to buy the abilities. Mm-hmm. So you may not be able to ride at 200 buy all the abilities unless you planned ahead and didn't spend some skill points. Welcome back, Nevitz. So stuff like that. Well, you sent the email to Plant. Very nice. So, yeah. You gotta keep in mind that you've got to buy all of these abilities. And
then get in-game training.
Yeah, usually they want like 5 minutes of in-game role play for the training. Sometimes it's more. It just kind of depends how it flows.
Because I had a lot of points I was saving up, because I didn't want to, because I have an item where I have to be 200 skill points or less, not more, and I have a lot of benefits, and it's actually really good benefits. Like I have a sidestep per battle for any fire, burn, ice, or freeze damage. I can, that's where I can cast the freeze 25, but I think I might be letting go of that, because I need to finally grow past 200.
I just bonded my first item.
Nice. I've had a lot of items for a while. Well, I was lucky, because like I said, when I came in 4 years ago, we had that ice event, and we got to pick like an item, and I got a legacy item then. And that was the, I think was it this? No, something else, but that I still have. I've got a lot of legacy items, because my character doesn't really buy anything. Like I don't spend money to upgrade weapons. I don't spend this, which I am now, actually. That reminds me, I gotta shoot off an email. Finally gonna get something to help me force restore more and all that stuff. Yeah. Finally spend some of my gold.
Proceed with caution says expert adventurer is also the only class that doesn't require in-game training.
Yes. I'll get to that when I talk about mine. The last thing that druids can do, first you get to do a little nature stuff, talk to animals. Next you can cast through grow claws and cast different elements through that, and then the last one you actually can transform into different aspects, gaining different abilities and powers.
Yeah, which is the 3rd level, so I'm not there yet. So like, and like I said, if my character doesn't need to know it, I really don't know it, because I haven't been taught it. So I don't know. I don't like to know all these things that my character doesn't know, because so I'm just like, I'm just now learning level 2. And I know I've been playing for 4 years and I'm only 200 skill points, but that just tells you how much I've been playing. Because I had to take a year and a half off, because like I said, it developed migraines that were daily, and so I just couldn't play for about a year and a half. But now they're gone. Now I'm back. Yay. And so I think I've gotten like 60 skill points in like 6 months or whatever. It's just I'm like, I need to get better now that I can play. And so yeah, so I don't know if you have any questions about being a druid. The fun thing about being a druid is the role play, because everyone's like, oh yeah, you're a druid, we can't like hurt animals or trees around you.
People get so, yeah, they do.
Every time.
Their mindset completely clicks, and they're like, oh, we can't just murder hobo every animal. Like, it is kind of funny because they actually pay attention to animals when a druid is around. If a druid is gone, there are a few people that are like, oh, we shouldn't kill these wolves. It's like, well, we can't communicate with them, and they're hungry, so they're not letting us around them.
Yeah, I buy like some graham crackers or jerky that on the weekenders I'll have in my bag. So when we encounter the wolves and stuff, I'm like, here, so we don't kill you. Now, eat this and run off. Unless they're like, abyssally tainted wolves. Then like, we got to kill them. But yeah, so I like Wednesday night. The night I became a citizen. One of the new characters went, hey, so if I'm cold and I want to like break a branch off a tree and burn it, is that okay? Can I burn the whole tree if I need to? And I'm just like, because it's like it's still a natural thing in the world. Lightning strikes, the forest will burn, but then new stuff will grow. It's not like it can't be done, because even in nature it naturally happens. And the thing about the Path of the Earthwalker is it's a code, but it is open to interpretation by each individual follower of the path. So some people are like, no, we can't destroy nature at all, and some people are like, but nature destroys itself all the time. Yeah. So it's still natural.
Well, and fire is rebirthing. So
yeah. So it's kind of how you want to interpret the code for your own stuff. And me, I was always like. The earth does provide.
He says he likes the hippie druid that Mike plays. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, hippie druid came in, and Zyaelah was like the only one in town when he came in, and Mike was like, "Yeah, I like listen to the streams, and I try to let's hear what it has to say." And so like I emailed Plot, and I was like, "Now Zyaelah wants to sit by streams and see if it'll talk to her." And Plot was like, he figured out that the guy was probably crazy and not really know what he was talking about. I was like, darn it. But I was like, he was a druid. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe the water can talk to him? Okay. When I sat by the streams, like, I don't hear anything. But that was an out-of-game thing. But like, yeah, in-game, everybody was off on an adventure, and Zyaelah was in the tavern by herself talking to this hippie druid. And it was fun. Oops, there goes my ear. Oh no, my ear fell off. Put it back on.
Well, as for myself, I'm multi-classing. My primary one is Expert Adventurer. I picked that up because I wanted to be able to diversify.
Yeah, there you go.
My repertoire, which I recently discovered it's not what I thought it was, which is unfortunate. At level 1 Expert Adventurer, you can pick up an extra utility slot, and you can get like small little things like extra training here and there. Second level, you're able to pick up one ability, which I noticed. I'm like, one ability, all right, fine, that's cool. At level 3, you got to pick up an extra combat slot and an additional ability. And I thought, oh, cool, I can be purchasing those and pick and choose the ones that I wanted, which I later discovered it's only one. So the difference between Expert Adventurer and Jack of all Trades is Jack of all Trades can pick a bunch of different stuff from a lot of things, and Expert Adventurer can pick from the options provided, but only one. Which was unfortunate for me, wanting to have a wide variety of abilities. So it didn't work out quite as how I wanted it to, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and sometimes it's good to talk to, before you go. That's what I always go in. I'm always like, I ask, I'm like, okay, what will this do for me? This is my goal for my character. This is what I want to be able to do. If I get this, is this, and then the plot's really good. Like when I'm leveling up, they're really good at be like, well, actually here, this would probably be better for what you want to do, and guiding you. So if you get, if you're new and you're building your character and you're trying to figure out your classes and whatnot, plot will help. I mean, they know what they're doing, they understand everything, and they're really good about advising in the right way what you want to do. Because I know I can be open up like, oh, I think this means this, and then like, no, actually no, it means this. So that'd help. Yeah. And then we have our warden.
Yeah, Lone Star, real quick. He asked, "Can you guys tell us about races We actually, I mean, I can go over what they all are really quick. But we actually will have another episode in the middle of October that will devote completely to races and the makeup that's required to them, or required for them. Because there's quite a bit. But like today, earlier, we talked about there's human, there's fae, there's parthen, there's dwarf, there's Thorg. Thorg. What else am I missing?
You'll have your basic fantasy classes. You know,
we got
gnomes
elves
and halflings and dwarves.
Yeah. Do we have gnomes? I don't think we have gnomes.
We have halflings.
I know we have
dwarves. No, I don't actually.
I don't think we
Barbarians.
have gnomes. Barbarians. Parthens, which is the cat ones. So
yeah.
But we'll talk about that more in another episode. So.
Yeah, I'm Fae, which you have your pointy ears. You're supposed to have your glitter everywhere. And there's elves with also those pointy ears, and that. So there's a lot of different races to choose from. Just not all the races. Like I don't think we could be. Can we come? Because I know we have dragon NPCs, but I don't think we could PC a dragon.
No, that's something that has to be like pursued in game, like
Banner over a long period of time.
Yeah. So Miss Cheyenne says, "Do you have to be short to play a gnome?" No, you don't. We don't actually have gnomes, but a halfling. You just have a red nose. You paint your nose red.
And you claim that the bottom shelf is the best shelf for the beverages, not the top shelf.
Yeah,
that's
so 3 different kinds of elves, 2 different kinds of dwarves. Yeah, so there's a lot for races, but we'll go into that on a later episode. So
I have another character who is one of the races of elves. You have to paint runes on your face. And I have the runes on her little treasure chest, just so I know exactly which runes to put on my face. If not, I wouldn't remember.
So the warden is, at least for me, it's kind of a fun class because you bond people to you that you essentially, it benefits your bonds almost more than it benefits you. So you essentially take people that you want to take under your wing and protect them. I can resist waylays because I'm so stout in my defense of my. I guess that's how I interpret it. So I'm so stout in my defense of my bonds that I must stay conscious in order to protect them. One of my favorite things is every 5 levels of bond, I gain one per day a resistance for mind control, which is super nice. So I'm going to be spending many levels into that. I'm not going to take that many bonds, but I'm going to have that many levels in it just so that I can have at least 3 per day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go up to at least level 15, probably 16, so that I've decided I want 8 bonds probably at the most, and so then if anything ever happens where I lose all my bonds, I'll have 8 slots available to be like, I'm gonna rebond them right now on the spot, So I always have to leave those spots available. So I only have 7 slots right now, and I think I have them all filled. I'm not 100% sure. I have so many now that I start to lose track. Like I know I've got my brother, and like that's the easiest. I'm like Boji and Lita, and then I got Zyra, and then I've got Leodin, I've got Valeron and Rin.
And I got bonded to Wakeful a couple weekends ago. So.
I just got bonded to Banner last weekend.
Yeah. And then let's see so I can train my bonds so that they can like live longer in their bleed and death count. And now I just barely hit. Well, not barely. I just recently hit level 3, which has the best ability. I can, if my bond is, so I actually have the ability to tell the status of my bonds at any time, which usually we use a walkie-talkie so that they can communicate with me. So when they go down, they'll like beat me and tell me who they are and if they're in their death count or their bleed count. And then I have all of their death count and bleed counts written on a piece of paper so I know how long I've got to work with. And then if they're in their death count, I just barely earned the ability where it's called Death Swap, where I can literally switch my life force for them. So I will start dying and they will stand up and fight, which is really good for someone who might be up in the front lines that got somehow disconnected from the rest of the party or something like that. So mostly for Lita. And unfortunately, I didn't get to her fast enough one of the times because I totally forgot that I even had the ability. I was trying to get to her physically to like raise dead, and I'm like, well, I don't need to do that. I can just do the.
Yeah, because I was right by you. I know. I remember watching you getting trained for that, at a I think it was a Saturday event.
It was a Saturday event.
Yeah, because I think we just got done and you were getting trained for that, and I was watching you getting trained. And then with the Talsagor Weekender, watching you train Wakeful. It was so it's cool. So I've seen you getting trained and watched you train somebody else.
Dude, that training was intense.
Oh my! She was screaming and crying.
I was not prepared for that. Yeah, like I'm sitting in the bar in the tavern just BSing, and all of a sudden I just hear my name scream, "Jovi, we need you!" As I come running out of the tavern, I have no idea what's going on, expecting the worst,
crying like crazy,
and they're like,
shaking.
"Oh, we need you to train her right now," and I'm like, "Oh, that's what you're screaming for?" But then I find that it's because one of her bonds is literally dying, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" So she's over there crying and screaming and tears coming out, and I'm like, I gotta.
And people are like, do this, and
Yeah.
and there was like, shut up, he is teaching her.
Yeah,
Stop
like
interrupting.
I'm trying to teach her, and I have to
chaos.
role play it for like 5 minutes, and I'm trying to make it all up on the spot because I've never had to do this before. Well, I've had to train someone in level 1, but it was much more relaxed, and it was like while we were walking around,
This
I was
is
talking
battlefield
to them.
training, man.
Yeah,
You
this
have-
was literally like I had no choice.
The thing with training is you have to at least be that level above the person in order to train them. So level 1 can train nobody, level 2 can train 1, and level 3 can train 2, or lower. The one thing I wanted to ask you about that was when the death swap happens. They say, "Hey, I'm this is so and so in my death count." Do they tell you how long?
No.
No, it's just that. So if someone gets hit with like a Draco venom and they drop to 1, you have no idea.
I have no idea. Like, and that's the thing is that happened with Lita. I did have an idea because I was literally standing right next to her when she got hit with the dire. I think it was a dire eviscerate or something, which drops you to 1 minute. And I was like, force defend. They're like, no, it's a dire. I'm like, oh crap. That's the other thing I can do is I can defend abilities a lot more with my bonds than I can with a regular person, or I can grant well-being them more often too. So I
That's
have.
awesome.
It's per level. I think I have 6 extra uses because at level 5 you gain the resist mind control. So because I'm level 7, I have 6 uses of I can either use force defend 6 times or grant well-being on my bonds only 6 times. So let's see. Boji says he got training from the king, which he did. Let's see. Lone Star says, "How you doing, Nevitz?" And they're talking to each other, which is totally fine. So, yeah, Warden was just for me was just kind of. It was also just kind of natural, mostly because I had my brother, and it was kind of in our bio that we're here to protect each other, and what class protects each other better than a warden.
Right.
You know? Aegis takes it on more of like, I'm going to protect everyone because I'm just going to stand up here and never die.
Yeah, my second class is Aegis, which they also just updated as well.
Did they?
Originally, it was that Aegis can get evades, which are the best. They get additional health while in armor. They are resistant to normal killing blows and death blows. And then they got additional bonuses to their hunker down. The newer edition has some of those, but also increased to include shields.
Yeah.
So we still get our evades and everything, but now we also get bonuses when we're with a shield. So if we have a shield and we're fighting with other people that have shields, we get increased health, we get increased defenses, and we call our shield wall stance.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, we get resistances to shield cripple and a bunch of fun stuff like that. I can't reach level 3 to get that because I'm level 3 expert adventurer, but I can still get up to level 2, which will leave me the evades and the resistance to normal killing blows and death blows. And the idea behind Aegis is, they're more the self-defensive ones, where they're the tank, your generic tank, I take all the hits, and with the shield bash, shield wall upgrade, they are now even more so. And they can also create the shield wall and create more of a defensive line.
Didn't we do that on an adventure where we created the shield wall to, like, to trap somebody in, everybody like beat the
It
crap
wasn't.
out of him?
It didn't necessarily trap him in, but he ran. So it was 3 Aegises that were all fighting him, and it was just when they had released the shield wall, so it was all fresh in their minds. And I believe it was Divas, Talos, and Brunt, and they all just kind of looked at each other real quick and like somehow just telepathy like knew what each other was thinking, and they all looked at the guy and go shield wall, and he just looked at them and just took off the other way because it's like
can't get through it.
He was like, I don't know what that does, but I'm out of here. Like he took, and they just rushed him and killed him, and everyone was like, That was cool.
It was an awesome moment. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and they were all like, "Dude, that shield wall ability is awesome. We just totally took that." And it's like, you guys did. The three of you guys alone just took that guy out because of your shield wall. Like they literally just rushed him and he couldn't touch them.
So I won't be able to do that myself, but with my shield, I can give the benefits to the other agencies.
Yeah, you can, because it's every shield or something like
Yeah,
that.
every shield up to 3, you get a different
Yeah,
one.
and they had 3 of them there, and it was like, oh my gosh. And I've considered going Aegis a little bit too because of my heavy armor and my shield, but
Well, and the evades.
Yeah.
Just getting the additional health and the evades was enough for me to go, yeah, I'll take Aegis.
so
I wouldn't know what class I would do after.
Well,
I do all 3 levels.
Yeah. Well, that was the...
Probably.
and
Oh, no, go for it.
no go. So the way I look at it is your second class is a lot more for flavor because you can never get the 3rd level abilities, so you're not necessarily in it for abilities. Like that's kind of why I was looking at Warlock, because Warlock has that whole because when you choose Warlock, you choose where you get your powers from. There's like 3 different trees, and one of the trees is based on your ancestors, and just based on my background, that is kind of fitting and it's more flavorful for me. Do I like the abilities? Not necessarily, but it's more flavor. It spruces up kind of my background and supports it a little bit more than some of the other classes. But even Druid now supports it because of the aspect of the beast that now is starting to rise inside me. So, and I don't know how it's going to manifest. It might manifest differently. I have no idea.
That's true.
But it literally, like, I got the seed of the aspect of the beast planted inside me. So, like, I have no idea how long it's going to take or anything. But, like, that alone just makes me kind of want to pursue the druid thing a little bit more. So, let's see. The written witch warlock bonds are just an example. You can work with plot for a unique one. Yeah. But the thing is with that, proceed with caution, is that the ancestor one fits with me very well already. So, but we could define that even more finite for me if we really wanted to, but we don't necessarily have to. But
And that's what I like about all the different things. Again, going back to working with plot and that they can make things but they can tailor things more to your character storyline, your plot line, or whatever in some aspects and that. So I like that, and I think there's the third that he said that where you can cast through your weapon. I think that might be why, because I have this really big staff. It's really hard. It's almost like having a shield because I made it so it's big because I want to hit people with it, but I was making it myself, so it's not like a latex one that you buy that's super thin. It is this big, and I've had where I've been using it to knock away blows, and one time he was like, "It's just so big," we just gave up fighting me and went somewhere else. I'm like.
The funny thing with that is if you heal someone, they're going to know you heal them because they're going to feel that thing for sure.
And it's so long, too, that I'm just like, I can be 3-4 feet away. I'm out of danger, but I can heal you.
I've always just thought it funny that you're hitting someone to heal them, like especially with your staff. You're heal 5. Oh, okay. Just this big old thing smacking you across the face. But
heal 5, heal 5, heal 5. Feel
let's
better.
see. As far as that goes, you might be able to pact with the totem. But see, I never thought of that procedure. That is actually a really cool idea. So that's something that happened in our downtime that happened that Crow was there for specifically. But some totem is what gave me these powers. But it's like an ancestral family totem that we just discovered. So
cool.
You guys don't know that.
No. I'll forget, don't worry. The difficult thing for me, though, in particular, was I had went over all of the classes, and none of them really fit the playstyle character that I was trying to create.
Because you want to be a dragoon.
Yes, so I'm a gamer, Final Fantasy, RPG, that whole thing. I love it. And the dragoon definitely jumped out to me because it's just a fun class. It's a balanced offensive, defensive warrior with the ability to jump. And that's a hard thing to emulate, but we've talked about how different mechanics we can work into it that would actually make sense and actually be kind of fun. But since there wasn't a dragoon class, I just call myself a dragoon in-game. Like, I'm a dragoon. What are you? I'm a dragoon.
Well, and dragoon was a military unit regardless of the actual abilities from the video game.
Yeah.
So it does make sense either way. So
so I tried to craft it, and you can do this too. As you look at the classes and go through everything, you can try and pick the things that you think would work best for you. The one thing, Warden, Warlock. So you'll be able to defend yourself, other people, and then with the Warlock part, you gain the ability to get an incant. It's like, I summon my ancestors for any
Yeah, that's what
healing
it
you
would be.
do. And I think also you get to choose a weapon type to swing for as well, like silver or with ancestors.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it very much at all, so
Yeah,
because I'm so far away from that. Like I'm
Warlock,
not till
Druid,
500, and I'm like 320. So like I've got a long way
Yeah.
to go
You
before
got
I
time to
get
figure
there.
it out.
Yeah, so I do, but then before I know, it's gonna creep up on me. So another week, another Final Fantasy reference. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so ingrained in the core of the gaming community. So
Oh, the ring's phony.
I mean, you're technically not open.
Technically,
Oh, it's good.
you're fine. We've had a lot of weird noises.
Yeah, and you might change your pathway along the way. Like you'll be
Yeah.
saying, like, "Oh, I want to do this," and then as you role play throughout the year, things either in game, the experiences you have will change that. You'll be like,
Yep.
"Oh no, I'm going to go this way instead."
Yep.
Yeah, for example, Warlock. Now you're thinking Druid.
Yep, and
So-
that all happened because of what happened in game, and just because of different things that happened there. So, yeah, I'm gonna wait until probably the last minute because depending on what happens in game, is really gonna be determine what happens there. So,
Well, and I know with Zyaelah, this has been something that all summer I've been thinking about. I know at some point your character retires, and you play a different one, and it could be when your character's, you've been playing a character 5 years or maybe 7 years, or maybe you're done with the character in 2 years, whatever. If you have plot you want to get through, or me, I don't really have any plot that I came in to solve. I'm not coming in to solve some murder. My plot for a while was I don't have my memories from when I was a little girl till now, what happened. And in talking to people and kind of piecing some things together, I'm at the point where like I don't really care anymore. I no longer care about remembering all of those years. If I get them back, great. But I have to go to the person who took those memories. And at the end of the day, it may be nothing. It may not even be worth me
you may
worrying
remember
about.
something you don't want to remember.
Well, even that, or like I just may remember like frolicking through the Silver Glen for 20 years or whatever, and that's it. Like it may be just something stupid. It's
Yeah.
just they're protecting the Silver Glen. And I wanted that to be open to plot. Maybe plot can use that for whatever. But now with events that happened this summer and things that I've learned, people in conversation have had, I'm like, okay, when I retire, I'm going to retire to do this. And that's going to probably affect, I may not go to 3rd level Druid. I may actually go 1st level something else and go throw 3 levels on that.
Yeah.
Because I've got to focus on my future goals. And I'm so gung-ho about it now that I think that's when I retire, Zyaelah's peace out and you're never going to see her again. She's on a mission. And I've got to learn, everything I needed to learn to be successful with that mission. And so it's like another thing, like that's what I've been thinking. I'm like, I may not do a 3rd level Druid. I might be switching things up. Zyaelah might drastically change over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But that's my future goals that have come up from things that have happened in the town and in the ways Zyaelah has always been. So that'll be fun to kind of. But again, I'm thinking, okay, 2-3 years down the road when Zyaelah's finally gone, but I've got to start prepping for that now because of what those goals are and what that mission is going to be. I can't be what I am right now.
See, and that's one of the things that you kind of need to be open to with LARP specifically, more so than a tabletop, is because of how long it takes. You need to be open to be able to be flexible like that and change your mind, because something that made sense a year ago may make absolutely no sense now, and it's completely different from a tabletop. Because in a tabletop, there's not a whole lot that changes that's going to make you change your class in a tabletop, at least in my opinion. So like,
Yeah.
I would say that's something with a LARP that you need to be aware of or open to, just because the flex. But and I think I like that because it helps you choose your character if you let it be more fluid and natural.
Yeah, and they do offer you the opportunity to change it. It's called a soul forge.
Yeah.
So you get a long way and you're like, I'm doing this, I don't like it, or it's not working out for me. What can you do? Like, oh, come on in, we'll do a soul forge for you, and you can rework your character. First one's free, and then the next ones I think cost mythic points or in-game money.
Yeah.
I can't remember, maybe both. Which is something I might be considering now that I know that Expert Adventure is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And if I do, I think I might go maybe War Master, because picking up those forceful assaults would be great. It'd fit more of an offensive fighting style for me. Combined with Aegis as well, that'd be a good balance. So we'll see. I'll have to take a look at it because I know they're also reworking War Master. They're reworking a bunch, so it's tough to like pick what you want to be because you may pick it and then 2 months later it's different.
Yeah, but the changes have been good.
So far with the changes too, they're like, if you don't like it, like we're gonna refund ability points and stuff like that too. So that's been kind of nice with them there too. So they've been willing to work with you, and they're like, okay, well that ability is different now. Do you still want to keep all those points expecting it? And some people don't, so they've been letting them to a point refund some of them. So that's been kind of nice. But they're going to get rid of the forceful assault entirely.
Well, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so because he is the War Master, and he's been talking to them about that, and they've been telling him, forceful, because they got rid of it with the Berserker, I think, first, right? Because Berserker had it, and they got rid of it with Berserker, and then I think they've been saying they're going to get rid of it entirely.
Yeah, from what talking with Crow a little bit about that, because he was a Berserker as well. He's like, they nerfed it hard. Yep. Berserker. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, and I told them to look at Warden when they did that vote a few months ago. I wanted them to look at Warden because there's a few abilities that are just pointless.
Yeah, I did the same. I'm like, please update Expert Adventurer.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot. There's only like 1 or 2 abilities that I don't like, but the rest of them I love. Especially one of them I didn't talk about that's new for level 3 is that I can unlimited defend death blows against my bonds. Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah. So if your bond is on the ground bleeding or and they keep getting hit and an enemy walks up and it's like, death blow magic, and you're like, nope, defend. And they're like, death blow magic, you're like, defend, and you can go on infinitely.
Yeah, because normally you only have so many defends per battle, but when it comes to that specific attack, I can do that indefinitely.
Well, and then what they mean by it, like, you go into your bleed count, so you count for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, however long it is, and then you go into your death count, and then that's however so many minutes. But if somebody comes up while you're in your bleed count and they death blow you, you stop your bleed count and you go into your death count. Yeah. So this essentially is buying you time, so that you don't die faster. is not being killing blowed. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's been huge, and I've already used it a few times, and I've made NPCs just walk off. They're like, I'm not gonna get anywhere over here, so, and then it gives me, and that's just it. It buys me the time to first aid or grant well-being or whatever I need to get them off, or get them up, I guess. But so that was one of the abilities, and I still have another ability I haven't bought. I can grant evade to my bonds. I haven't even bought that one yet.
Yeah, that's another utility one, right? Or do you have to replace something with that? Because I know some classes require you to replace things like Arcane Bulwark. You can their specialty is that you get the ability to reflect, which is cool. You get hit with a spell, reflect, and then that person takes it. The only issue is that in order to use that, you have to sacrifice a force ability. So Force Holocaust or Force Twin Strike or Force Restore Your Spirit, you have to give up that ability in order to use the Reflect. Is anything like that with Warden?
No, we don't have to give up nothing we have to give up, so.
That's good.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. So the evade is just like per day I can grant.
Okay. And does it last for 5 minutes like normally, or is it the logistics?
I think it's just a 5-minute one.
Okay.
So I don't know, I have to read it. I haven't read into it because I haven't bought it yet, so. Because I've been spending more points into increasing my bond count so that I can get that extra mind resist.
That's powerful.
Yeah, way good.
Because it works on any level. So if it's like enslave, resist. Force enslave, resist.
Yep.
Dire enslave, resist. Because it doesn't say what level. It's any mind control.
Which was nice in the Talsagor fight because they were throwing those around and I got hit once and I was like, resist.
My favorite moment in the Talsagor fight, though. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the I guess it was one of the raves or whatever hit me with oh shoot, I forgot the thing where basically you can't do magic anymore. Just negate magic. And that's like 5 minutes unless you have a grant. And I have a grant well-being salve, so I couldn't like grab it right then because there's just so much enemies. So I wandered off a bit to get my grant well-being salve so that I can get my magic abilities back. And then he like enslaved me. And I look at him like, well, what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, you can swing for necromancy because I'm a healer. I can throw cleanse,
But at the same time, the opposite side, I have access to necromancy. But I looked at him, I was like, you had hit me with negate magic. And he's like, and he broke character, and he just chuckled and laughed. He's like, I guess you're screwed. And then just walked away, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to grant well-being myself anymore because that will also get rid of the enslavement. So I just kind of just stood, because I didn't have a weapon on me. I didn't have my staff or anything. So I was just kind of standing there like, I can literally do absolutely nothing right now, which is still a good position to put the healer in where they can't even heal. But like, part of it's like, I probably should have like ran around people and like, permission to grapple and like tried to restrain them or whatever. But I just kind of stood there laughing. And fortunately, Rayla was there to hit me with the grant well-being anyway, because she saw the enslavement or whatever. But it was just a fun moment. Like, what do you want me to do? Necro! You can't. I'm negated. You're screwed.
That is funny.
It was like my favorite moment, honestly, in the whole Talsicor battle. I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I could have grown claws, but since I don't have the physical representative, because Zyaelah doesn't really want to use claws, so like, yeah, I can grow them, but I'm not going to use them, and I don't know how to use them because I haven't gotten the training for it because I just don't care. So if I had claws, I probably would have ran around and started clawing people. But I didn't have those, so I'm going to have to make a pair of claws, I guess, just in case I'm enslaved and told to hit people. I can hit them with my claws.
Yeah. There was a part in that fight where Lita gave me like the hugest anxiety because there was like a necromantic barrier.
When doesn't she give you anxiety, really?
That's true, like for real. But I chose to do, when I bonded her, I knew that there was going to be a lot of that involved. But there was a time where there was a necromantic barrier, and so none of us could cross it unless we hit it like 200 cleanse. But because she was undead, she's like, boop, and so she's just in there by herself fighting off like two things so that she can destroy one of the portals that they were coming out of. And I'm like, get out of there! I can't do anything. I'm literally standing at the barrier yelling at her. I'm like, get out of there! I can't do anything. I can't help you. She's just like, and I'm like, you're gonna get surrounded and outnumbered. No, I got this. I got this. Somehow she survived, man. She survived, killed the two guys, and then while she's destroying the portal, another one comes out. Like, she was in there by herself for a good, like, 5-6 minutes, and I was like, get out of there, because I can't do anything to get to you.
At all, yeah. She's funny, though, because with the undead aspect, like, it's funny to watch her against undead, because they're hitting for or they're hitting for drains, or hitting for this, and she's like, taking his healing.
See, and I don't think they were hitting her for that, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's not us.
Yeah.
No, it's my bot talking to them. But so real quick, I think we're gonna take a real quick bathroom break, and then we'll come back.
Sure.
So my stomach is over here churning. So so yeah, we'll take a real quick break, everyone, and then we'll be right back. We've got a few more things to discuss.
Yep.
And then so we'll just be right back.
Listen to the Larp Lounge live on Sundays at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at twitch.tv/Aerorstar. That's twitch.tv/ARRUSTAR.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I have him grabbing his helmet real quick so that everyone can see him with it on. We didn't have Crow do this, and he has a really cool helmet, so I'm kind of bummed we didn't do that.
Yeah, Crow's is cool.
Yeah, you could sort of see it. It kept stabbing me in the arm.
Imagine this with pink and white bunny ears.
I also have a hood that's kind of similar to the pointy-hatted people from Dark Souls.
Nice.
That's helped on rainy and cold days.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So I've been, I guess, remiss. I forgot to ask you guys a question at the very beginning that I'm supposed to ask everybody. What does LARP, like, what is LARP to you, and like, what does it mean to you personally?
I don't know. With me, moving out to Utah, I've been exposed to D&D and LARP and all this stuff that I've heard of, but I've never played, participated, and really wasn't even curious about. And what LARP has become, I might get emotional. Everyone who I have met through LARP is my family out here, because all my family's out in Missouri, and you get friends, but then there's that group of people who just transcend that. It's not just friends; it's people. They're the first ones you want to see. They want to talk to. You know, they
if you're down, they're there. They're, and the wonderful thing about this group of people is, and I don't know if it's maybe just being participating in a nerdy thing that people tend to think is outcast or whatever. Because I mean, it's sad because there have been times where like people like yell things at you while we're LARPing. It's just it's like, meh. But they understand so much deeper a lot of things. And I think that's also helped because they can portray characters, like wakeful crying. Like she can, she can cry on and off, and her son, which she doesn't like crying in character when her son's around because her son actually thinks she's crying. She's like, no, But it does for me. It's been a home away from home, a family that I've needed, and there have been some, I suffer from some neurological things, and there have been some really dark days, especially this last 2 years, because my dad passed away last year before, and I came to the LARPs all year. I didn't participate as a PC, but as an NPC, and that was just really therapeutic for me to be with my family when I'm away from my family, because dealing with losing my dad and everything. So there's just been some times at a weekend where I'm lying there, I'm all by myself in the tent, and I can hear everybody outside laughing and joking, and I'm just like, it helps me keep going some days when I just don't want to keep going, and I don't want to even go to LARP, and I get there, and then all of a sudden it's like someone just sees me and they just give me a big huge hug, or if I'm leaving and they're like, wait, you have to give me a hug before you leave. It is so much more than just a random get together game for me. It means a lot to me, a lot more than I could probably even articulately perfectly express. So it's been an outlet. My character, she's cried and screamed and whatever. So it's nice to be a little more open with my emotions and my thoughts, because you in real life you're not always. Because in real life, you are around these people all the time. You don't want to tell them what you really think about them. But in LARP, you can. Because it's just a play. So it's...
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's different than just hanging out and playing. It's therapeutic, as well as fun. And I found my family out here that I've needed. I moved out here, and I've loved everybody, and they've been great. A little sappy, but... means a lot to me.
That's the truth, though. I agree. It's very therapeutic. So it's just more of my bottom. So what about you?
For me, it's not as sappy. I grew up in theater. I grew up acting and doing all that. So it was always fun to get to perform, be on stage, and I grew out of that. My grandparents actually owned a community theater, so I got to do all that all the time. They retired and closed it down, so I wasn't able to do that as much. And it's harder after school, because school provides the opportunities. In real life, you have to go out and find them, and it's hard because they have their little cliques, and you have to break into it. And so getting the opportunity to kind of do that, hang out with other people who are performing characters on a world stage and creating a story together. It's a lot of fun, and it also allows you the opportunity to kind of express childlike wonder and childlike energy that you wouldn't normally be able to in today's society, because it's like, oh, you got to be an adult and you got to go do adult things, and sometimes you want to be a kid. You want to stay up late and eat candy and watch movies or play video games. And being able to get to go out with like-minded people that aren't going to judge you for it, and just be able to have fun and play, rescue the princess from the dragon type of old school kid stuff. Like, use your imagination. It's great, and it does have therapeutic properties as well. I mean, that's why a lot of people will play Dungeons and Dragons. It gives them that outlet.
Yeah.
And this is just another avenue for that. It's another opportunity for you to meet like-minded people, to find a community, find a family, and to just express yourself and have fun and be able to get to be a kid in sadly a terrible, frustrating world. So it's a good experience, and it doesn't have to be something nerdy. Like, it doesn't have to be LARP or Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering. It could be football. Like, you get tailgate parties, get those people who are, of that same interest, that camaraderie. And it's just a hobby. It's just an interest that becomes a part of you. So for those of you who are LARPers or nerds or not at all, but you're just curious to find out about it, there are tons of communities and places for you to find friends and family and to have fun and feel meaning and purpose in your life. So I recommend that. Find what you love to do and people to do it with, and get out there and have fun.
And you do you, boo.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring out, just because of the sentimental thing, Zyaelah keeps this copper separate from her other treasure trove because I forgot the name of the group, the primordials stuff where they were one to ascend or whatever. That triggered a lot of like really crazy stuff for Zyaelah, and I think I was having a really rough day, and another PC came up to me and I forgot exactly the conversation, but basically gave me a copper to make me smile or something like that. I forgot the joke. There was a joke to it too. But Zyaelah has such an affinity for this character, and he hasn't played for a couple of years, so I'm kind of sad. But and so I'm like, this is the special copper that every time she is feeling sad, she can look at it and remind her to smile because of that one character. And so it's just kind of, even in game, you can still have those human, moments and those things. It's just, I don't know, it's just fun.
I gotta do my subscriber dance because we got a subscriber.
Oh.
Woo! You guys can join me if you want. Yay, subscriber!
Do you know what you're going like this. I used to watch Craig Ferguson. He was a late show TV host or whatever. But he used to have a point where he would like, who's at the door, and then he'd press a button or whatever, and this two guys in a horse costume would come out dancing, and this would be their dance. So that's what that made me think of. I was just like, I miss watching him so much. He was so good.
Yeah, one of the things that I've gotten a lot of people say about LARP is that they're concerned about, like, they're concerned that they're going to feel weird or that they're going to feel nerdy. And you're not, because everyone is so into it that it's just going to feel natural to you. It's not like there's going to be, and there's very, very, very rarely people who are watching. Occasionally we'll have spectators, but even then they're spectating because they're actually interested. They're not there to holler and ogle and and all. Like, they're actually there because they're interested. So
yeah. I
mean, she said that we do occasionally, we'll get people a little drive by and shout something, but that's rare, and we just kind of let it roll off. But like, for the most part, you're, like she said, you're with a community of like-minded people, and they're so into it that it's just easy for you to slip right in. At least for me, it's just so easy to slip into it because everybody else is into it, and you don't have you don't have that time to step back and go, man, I'm being a nerd, because you're just so into it.
Yeah, it's like I think. In the 4 years I've been playing, I think twice they've had the drive-bys with that. And we've had dozens of people stop, take pictures. We have actually business cards we hand out now just to give to people. I think we had a time where people who were in a park, like, they decided NPC for a while with us just because they wanted to see what it was like.
What we were doing.
Yeah. So it is very rare. But I think it's because Utah has a different mentality to, like, this stuff.
Yeah.
I think there are other states where it's more, it's football, or if not, you're just a wussy nerd. So I think that's kind of where because I'm coming from Missouri. So when I moved out here and I saw, like, every car had like a Batman sticker or a Marvel sticker on it or something like that, or references to an anime. I mean, it's huge here.
Yes.
That type of culture. And where I came from, I was maybe one car had some type of a nerdy thing on it. So it is a different culture here.
Yeah, it's funny, too, the way you think about it, because you'll have cosplayers who will go to conventions dressed up as their favorite character. Well, you also have football or baseball fans who will face paint and wear costumes and go to the sporting event dressed up. It's cosplay.
It's the same mentality.
It's the same thing.
Just a different coat of paint.
Yeah, so it's we shouldn't be judging people for that. They're having fun, we're having fun. Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So.
And, yeah, nerds unite.
No, sorry, nerds unite, yeah, so... But yeah,
It is a geek
we
capital.
actually had, I think it was sometime this year, or no, it was last year. We actually had a guy for his birthday. He found us on Facebook, and he came for his birthday. He came in NPC just to see what we were all about.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
yeah, and he had a ton of fun. He had a blast with it. And then I actually just ran into him recently, and he's like, "I want to come back, but my work schedule changed." And now now his schedule changed again. And so he's trying to build his armor so that he can come back, and he actually wants to build a suit like mine. He's like, how hard was that? I'm like, dude.
It's time consuming.
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't easy. I had help, and it still wasn't easy.
I wonder if
but-
you could get a bunch of soda bottle caps, those tabs.
Yeah, someone did that actually, I think.
Because I mean, I think it would still work and it would be lighter. You just tie it all
You just
together or
want to get
whatever.
period materials for that.
Yeah. So yeah, with armor, I also normally would wear a metal breastplate. I got it sitting over there, but sitting, you want to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I tell them is dress up but be comfortable because we're going to be here for a while. So
Yeah, because you get the different bonuses for having cloth to leather to metal, and being tanks, you want to have that full metal coverage because it's that much better for you. But that's the cool thing about it is the way that they set it up is your core. You have to have whatever the representation is. So if you want to have light armor, your core. If you want to have medium armor, chain. If you want to have heavy armor, plate. And then you don't have to wear metal on the rest of it. You can do leather or something to get the additional points for it.
that's exactly what I have. I have leather on everything else except for my chest.
Yeah.
Well, I had my helmet. My helmet's metal too. My coif, but
Yeah.
so
I love being the healer when we're in a battle because like they say with the healer you want to try to mimic that you're healing or whatever, and I didn't really know that at the beginning. I would just do what everybody else would, put your hand on and heal for 30 seconds or whatever. But when I read like no, try to mimic, I was like, oh well, then I'm gonna. So I start like do scratches or massages or whatever. But for him, I grab his armor and for 30 seconds I give a little tug, so there's a little bit of reprieve. And every time I lift, you're like,
yeah, that armor weighs down on my shoulders big time. So when she heals me, I love it. So Proceed says metal armor users swear by aluminum versions of the scale or chain or plate, but still looks great with a third of the weight. But with our LARP, you would lose. I guess it's only one hit point, but it's because it's not period material at that point because aluminum did not exist back in the day. So
but it's
Yeah.
fantasy.
Well, you wouldn't get the full setup because you have to have one for each. So chest front and chest back is a point. That's a point, and then arms and legs are half a point. So you get a total of 5 points. And then you get a point for material period. You get material for if it looks cool. You get a point if you have everything. And then you have to have all of those things in order to get the full complete point. So if you're missing one, you'll actually
lose 2 hit points.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 hit points doesn't sound like a lot, but in this game, it can make or break one more hit or not.
I'm
So-
currently floating at 31 hit points because I also have an item that gives me an additional hit point, and then masterwork, which is if you have everything, you get an additional setup. So
plus your Aegis stuff.
Yeah, and that helps as well. So because at the Weekender we got hit with a Force 30 cleanse. Like everybody dropped except for me with 1 hit point left. So it was like because that 1 hit point can matter.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm maxed out at 10 now because of an item where I can't be higher than 10, but I can heal really well. What is it? What can I do now? I can heal. Anyway, I can't remember it. But I can heal more and stronger. I have stronger healing essentially, but I'm stuck at 10 where I was at 16. And it's really getting to me. I'm just like, 10 versus 16 is huge.
It's a big difference now. So Mashayan says, oh my god, he had me carry his armor in the building the other day. Nope, could not do it, so freaking heavy. And then Proceed says, depending on your DC, 2 or 3 more hit points can be the difference between falling or surviving. And that's exactly true.
Yeah.
So I finally have 21 hit points because I got magical armor now and I got the masterwork on and everything. And I just got a 1 hit point for my shield. I got a magic item from one of the modules that it gave me 1 more hit point. So there was a thing too. It was like we got hit for 20 and I was alive with 1 hit point. I go, woo! Someone heal me! Oh wait, you're all down. So I had to get you up first to heal me, but
Yeah, I picked that up because there was a good 6 to 8 month period where we didn't have any healers.
yeah.
And I built myself to be a variety-based fighter. So for offense and defense and multiple weapons. So at that point, I'm like, well, we need healing. So I picked up some healing abilities, and I put the spell packet, which I
He dropped it.
which I believe you showed at another one, but
Yeah.
it's a nice little packet. You got it, and you just, for fighters, it's a lot easier. You can just stitch it into a little notch there,
Yep.
and then you just walk up and boom, heal you.
Yep. Mine's underneath my glove. I wear a glove on my hand normally, and I have my pouch in my glove, because I can just touch them, and that's the pouch.
Yeah.
So Boji says he's got 34 hit points. I guess when you have 133 hit point with a DC of 3 against everything, including force, you stop counting.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Jeez.
I knew it was something ridiculous, but I didn't realize it was that ridiculous.
Yeah, how do you even get that?
Yeah, I don't know. It has to have been
'Cause
some kind of...
Because the highest I heard was one of the Garadetskis, and they were like in their 60s. Being able to get up that high and have DC against force, that's like primordial level stuff.
This is why whenever you're in a battle, he just like acts like everything is a gnat. I'm hitting you for 10. I'm hitting you for 10. I'm hitting you for 20.
Draconic fortification. That's all he has to say. Anything with dragon in the name means lots and lots of power. So.
Awesome. Zyaelah needs some of that. I need to be healthy. I have to get rid of the item. Like I have one item. I'm like, I'm loving that I can heal all this extra, but I'm just like, miss having my health. Gotta go get ready for comments.
Comment. Oh yeah, he's just got a new gig where he's commenting speedruns for like for a tournament or something, right?
Awesome.
So glad I could tune in. So
Yeah.
sorry, I gotta go get ready to commentate some speedruns. Glad I could tune in. I'll catch the rest on video of the day. Have a good one, my friend. OG gains an extra 30 when he berserks. Holy cow.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks Lone Star. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the big question is coming up.
What's the big question?
I can feel it. It's coming.
Feel it coming.
Would you be surprised?
What is your favorite LARP memory?
I think mine involves. Golly, it might involve you.
Okay.
Again, back. What was the name of the group? The Primordial Weapons. Who were they? It was like my first year.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the group? We were collecting all this
Oh,
stuff.
the Starfall?
Yeah, Starfall Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So this is before. This is like right when Zyaelah was getting some of like. She came, like I said, she walked in Northwatch into a nice cavern. She didn't have any memory. She didn't even remember where she's from, Laroth. She just kind of just knew her name. She didn't know anything of that. But then we had a rest port kind of a thing where it triggered her remembering the memories, and the only memory she had was her running away while everybody was around her was screaming and dying. It was very traumatic. And like immediately after, we had the Starfall Initiative, and her biggest fear is like she's a healer. Her biggest fear is not being able to help people. Not be able to, them spiriting her and not being able to get to them. So someone had hit something with an assassinate, and what that did was it caused an assassinate to hit everybody.
Whoa.
So everyone went down.
That was Malistraza
Yep.
hitting the Primordial with an assassinate.
Yep. And then everyone went down, and someone spirited because their death count was 1 minute instead of 5 or whatever. And all I remember is lying there, like counting down, like looking like, and I'm, and this is me out of game, because I'm lying there, we're all dying. And then like someone came up and we were all able to come back up. But that just triggered, like I talk about the PTSD and everything which I do try to roleplay that because I don't believe in being a character as innocent and naive and blank slated as mine, coming across these really traumatic events and being all like, la 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 la, oh well, everybody died, la, la, I mean, it's traumatic. So we finally did beat them. So we get back into the town, and I'm counting Poverty Treasure. And I'm literally shaking. I'm trying to count the coins. I'm trying to count this. He has a character called Tenamen, who's all in red, and he's just like, no, whatever. He's a schmuck. Out of game, I knew some things about him, but in game, I didn't.
So like he's trying to help me count, and he keeps getting closer and closer. And finally, I'm like, "Why don't you just leave me alone?" And I just like snapped, and he left because I was just so. And I counted everything, and I gave everyone their treasure, and then like I went to somebody else later, and I bawled my eyeballs out because of just it was a traumatic event. But it was so much fun. But it was kind of fun to just like yell at somebody sometimes because I don't do that in real life. But I was just like, and he left. I'm like, I don't think his character would have naturally left. He'd have tried to talk his way out of it. But I think he just read that. Yeah, no, I gotta leave. there might be some attention drawn to me if I don't leave or whatever. But it was just a fun one. I've got a couple that are similar to it, but I think right now that still is one of my more favorite moments.
See, and that's part of the reason I became a warden is because I don't like seeing people's spirit either. Like you become attached to them as characters too, and you're like, and they're real people, and you don't want them to die. Like I literally don't want people to die, which is why I bond them. Like I had Zyaelah bonded for a little while, and then because I disappeared, she's like, I'm not gonna continue spending the points for you as my bond, so my warden. So, and then she died like 2 weekends ago, and I felt terrible. I was like, I used to have her bonded. I could have saved her, and now she's dead. And I take it like personally almost like, and it's hard, man.
Yeah. Oh, that got to Zyaelah too. Like with Zyaelah spiriting, I was just like, no, because and again, her fear of people spiriting. Like Frick was a character. We were fighting. I don't know who we were fighting. But they had taken Valoran and were holding him back there. And I'm trying to get to him. I didn't know Frick was back there. So I had to raise dead, and I run back there, and Valoran's like face. He's like, I'm good, help Frick. And I turn around, and he's spirited right at that moment. Had I had 5 more seconds, I would have been able to bring him up, and he would have been fine. But he spirited like right in front of me, and it was like...
those are the worst.
Oh. You know, if I had gone to him first instead of Valoran, but I knew Valoran had been back. I didn't know Frick had been back there. And then with Zyaelah spiriting the second time that weekend, or the first of the 2 times that weekend... we didn't know that they were hitting with the eviscerates or whatever, where it was a minute death count. And when Zyaelah's in battle and Zyaelah's in battle, Zyaelah is such an amazing healer. I don't worry about her. So all of a sudden, somebody's like, Zyaelah's down. I go, what? Because I was taking care of people over here because she was over there. And then so I'm trying to get over to her, and like, boop, her and Laden spirited. It's like, so it's like, it gets to Zyaelah. She's going to be doing things.
Wait, Laden spirited?
Yeah, at the same time Zyaelah did.
She didn't call me because she's one of my bonds.
I don't know if you were there at that moment then, because it was like midnight on Friday night on the Talsagor weekend.
I was up pretty late most of that weekend.
Okay.
Like that was
And
one of
she
the few
didn't
weekends
get
I
to.
was up for a lot. I did sleep like during the day on Saturday though, because I was up late on.
No, it was like the first big module. We were going to get the Candleborn or whatever.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Okay, well she didn't. Why didn't she page you? She was down in her death count.
I don't know.
I guess she forgot.
Probably.
Yeah, because she's new. She's like way new.
Gotcha.
And that's probably the first module she's been on. In fact, it was her first module where she's been my bond, so she probably totally spaced that she even could do that. So
That makes sense.
So what about you? What's your favorite LARP moment?
It's tough thinking about it because I don't have too many with Cyrodiil because he's the strong silent type that's kind of like no nonsense with people. So he doesn't interact often. And also mainly because I built him to be a combative unit. So he's always up for the fight.
It can be either any character.
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 Cyrodiil moments and 1 Tenamen moment. The Cyrodiil ones are combat, so those are kind of half it. But the first one was the Mother Dryad.
Oh my god.
Was her son was tainted with abyssal magic, and so there was this huge fight. And I was one of the stronger characters at that time, at only like 200 or 300 points. And I'm bouncing back and forth between all of these spots, defending, keeping people alive, just running everywhere, dropping stuff, bringing them up, and it was a great fight. And it got to the point where I drew the fury of the son of the mother so much though he just came over and he just dire dropped me, and then I think drained life or venomed me, so I had 1 minute.
Wow.
And I start counting down, and I hear Mel Straza, who's an assassin, come up, and he's like, I'll get him, and he runs up, and then he drops him, so he's like 3 feet away from me, like, and now so I'm counting down. I get to 51 seconds out of the 60 before Ilessa, a wizard, very powerful. She just launches over from the tavern, just like, Force of Story Spirit. I'm alive. The second moment was an Arbor Isles module where we were moving across an area to get to a light to perform a ritual, and we were being harassed by this very powerful obsidian golem, and it just would not go down. So as we're working our way across the field and we get to the spot, I'm more of a skirmisher at this point, so I'm bouncing around, taking down units left and right, and once the whole unit is able to get there and start working on the ritual, for the next 20 minutes, almost non-stop, I am running, keeping this obsidian golem away. Like, because we were on a patio platform where they were performing the ritual, and then it was just grass everywhere else. So I'm keeping him off the cement. He's trying to run back and forth. I'm just repelling him, keeping him back. For like a good solid 20 minutes, I was exhausted by the time that it was over.
Yeah.
And then finally they finish the ritual, and then the powerful heavy hitters come over and drop like 7 force abilities on him and kill him. And so I had just had this intense moment going back and forth with Rix, and because he was playing the golem, and it was just a lot of fun because I was actually I was out of abilities, so it was just down to pure combative skill, and it was a lot of fun. I felt very proud of myself for that moment. I'm like, no one saw it.
Yeah.
No credit, but it was just still one of those fun moments where like I did something awesome.
Yeah.
As for my favorite role-playing moment, I would have to say it was with my other character, Tenamen, who is a very charismatic, proper type of guy. He was originally going to be a wizard, but then I switched him to go towards a merchant. And he had a friend, Tarquin, who is infamous in the town. Everyone hates him, and I was guilty by association. But we came across an item that gave us this really powerful one-time use Hand of the Wizard, which allows you to throw one of every force ability. So Force Holocaust Burn you 100, Force Shock you 100, Force Free you 100, Force Story Spirit, and Force Obliterate. So we're in this underground thing, and we're going out of the cave, but there's this giant mass of weeds and a plant creature that's blocking the way. And so me and Tarquin, we're like, we've got this. So these two like low-level merchants pretty much say, we'll take care of this guy. So we step up to the front. I drop the Hand of the Wizard. I throw everything at him, hit Tarquin with the Force Restore. And then he puts his hand on me and goes, Transcend Plane. And so then we disappear. And so we pissed off this creature, dropped it halfway down, and then the rest of the people came in and had to fight it. And we're just sitting there watching it. We're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, planar transcendence. I'm working on getting to that far.
And we come out of it at the end of there like, what was all that? And we're like, we told you we got it. We weakened him greatly for you guys. And it was just like, we didn't even know if we wanted to fight him yet. That was a fun one. There's been one or two other role-playing moments with him where Tenamen was assassinated. That was unfortunate. I didn't really get to roleplay too much because it was assassinate and drag off. I was hired to murder you. I'm going to let you stay awake for 30 minutes so you can remember this.
Oh, wow.
And then he killed me. And I didn't know why. I didn't know who. And so my character got completely freaked out because he didn't know what he did wrong. He didn't know who put out the hit. So I roleplayed it so much to the effect that he went underground, stopped coming to adventures, and basically retired. Because he doesn't want to die.
Yeah. Yeah, that I had a hit on my head for a while too, and I stopped adventuring for a while too, so.
I don't think Zyaelah will ever be in a position where she will hit on her head.
Yeah. So.
And if she did, and somebody actually picks it up and they know her, they're idiots.
Yeah.
So I do have a joke, like it would be awesome if Zyaelah does end up being like the ultimate assassin and betrays everybody, because like no one would ever see that coming. But right now, like no, she's like 4 years old.
Do you guys know what your marble counts are?
Tenamen, he had his one safe death from the assassination. Other than that, he's fine. Ceratal has never died. He's come close once or twice, but
Yeah.
I fight smart. So
I've never like spirited, but I've given up my life. Like with the primordial, the initiative, the Starfall initiative, somebody had to give up a life to break a barrier to go get to them, and so I did that at that point. And then with the Tal Segor, what do we want to give up? I said, I'll give up a life. So I've given up 2, but I've never spirited.
those are probably your
So,
safe deaths. That
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'm still in my safe deaths. So
But-
I gave up a life to kill a demon like 5 or 6 years ago when it blew up the old town. Like that's how long ago that was. That's why we had to have the new town. It's because the old town was exploded in that ritual, and I gave my life for that. And then one of them was when we fell for a trap that I knew was a trap that I was screaming the whole time. We were escorting some guy. He had paid us to bodyguard him. He was charging in, and I was like, "It's a trap! It's a trap! Why do you think it's a trap? Because these things have been fighting us, standing their ground the whole night. This is the first time they're running away. It's because they're trying to lead us into an ambush. No, it's fine.
Oh.
Round the corner, ambush.
It's because you didn't say it with a fish accent. It's a trap.
So we died, and they put us in our bleed count. They drug us off to a room and let us bleed out and die. So nobody could get to us.
wow.
That was back when the Gyaraduskis played, and they actually saw us. And even though I didn't hear it, I heard them go, "Smash Brothers, no!" And they tried to get to us, and they couldn't. Because there was that many enemies there. Like, they held the line, and they killed a lot of people. That session, this was back when James used to run, and he was brutal. We had like 5 or 6 people spirit that one.
Wow.
And that was a Wednesday module, not a weekend. That was a Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was back when things were scary, but that's only 2 deaths, so I'm still good.
Yeah, like I've never spirited, so I haven't gotten in a situation where I've been killed. I got close though. This was one that Chelsea ran. We got to this area, I don't know, this abyssal mass smog, whatever, went out, and I had hurt my ankle, and so I wasn't able to really run. And so I'm kind of hobbling along, and well, the mist caught up to me, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And so I'm counting down, and I probably had maybe 30 seconds left, and Tybragus came in and started healing me, but of course he's getting affected, so he's trying to heal himself and me, you know, and then Brent comes in and he does whatever he did, which carried basically both of us, and he had no effect to the abyssal and got out, and I was healed. But I thought it was hilarious because I was lying there, I had my pink headband out, I was ready to spirit, and I looked up at Chelsea and Chris at the time, and I was just like, you know what's funny about this? I'm carrying party treasure. Which means all the money, all the gold, all the coins, all the items, everything would have been right there in that nice abyssal pool that really nobody could go into and get, and they would have not gotten anything from that campaign. I was chuckling more at I'm dying, I'm spiriting, and all the treasure's gonna be right here.
I've had 2 really close calls where I have had like epic saves. One of them was last year, I think, sometime in October, and I was down, and there was a monster actually like searching my corpse, and while I was bleeding and dying out, and Gunny was actually there, Gunvir, and he sees me from like across the battlefield, and so I literally, and we're up at the dog park that's way up on the east side that goes down into the, so you've got the pavilion, so we were fighting in the pavilion because we were almost done at the end. So he comes running, and he jumps over the bench from one of the picnic tables, like jumps over the whole thing, and on his way down, smacks me with a Grant well-being, because I was like 2 seconds away from my death count.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, and I was like, dude, he's like, did you see me? I'm like, I did see you, like I was dead, but I saw you, and that was freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
And then there was another one that was way back in the day, back when we were actually helping the PC forge the summer sword.
Oh, wow.
And it was a big old boss fight, and I was still low hit point. Like I was a low skill character, and I was even surprised they brought me because it was a private module and it was request only. And he requested me come, me and Boji, and I was like, we're way low skill points, but sure, we'll
It's
come.
so weird to think of you guys as low skill points,
know.
like because I came in when it's like Boji smash, get behind him because you ain't dying.
Yeah, but well, and actually that adventure had a really fun time where he was like the only one with strength, and there was this gate coming down. And I'm like, Boji, we need your strength. I have never seen him move so fast in my life. He comes barely, and we're in a school at this point, and there's an actual physical gate lowering. He comes barreling down the hall, and there's like this much left, and he gets his hand under there, strength, whatever, and the guy's like, "Hey, you lift it," and everyone was like, "Woo, we almost got stuck," and it would have cut the party in half, and it would have been, but it was the crazy. But anyway, that one was. The monster had hit me and I was down and I was actually in my death count, like actually dying, and I had like 10 seconds left. And so we were in a gymnasium at this point, and some guy sees me. He had no idea what I was at. He comes all the way across the room, and then he slid like halfway through. That was the craziest thing I've ever. And he left like a big old skid mark from his shoe. But he goes skidding halfway through the gymnasium. He's like, status. I'm like, death count. And he starts counting the raised dead, and I was like, oh my gosh. I have never, like, that was the closest I've come in a long time to dying. Like, I've never come closer since that, but. And afterwards, he's like, I'm helping him clean up his scuff mark from the gym. But he did. He slid so far. I was like, dude, you get into it.
Baseball, man.
Yeah, he was crazy, but.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can do those epic moments. Do you have another question?
We all started at 20 skill points, yeah.
Yeah.
So we all had to start at 20 at some, because even if, so me and Boji had saved up some skill points, but we still had to come in at 20.
Yeah, you have to come in the first time at 20, and then after that it doesn't matter.
But even then, I was probably only like 60 skill points. So yeah.
Which isn't bad. You get an extra slot and on both combat and utility, so you get a decent progression at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but low hit points. Even then, you're only like what 7 or 8 hit points. So
I think you start at 6.
And I didn't have armor back then, so I was like, yeah, you hit me twice or once, depending on your damage. And and that boss was swinging, I think, for like 10 damage. So one hit and I'm down. Like, so I didn't have I was borrowing a shield at that point. I was borrowing a weapon. This was like way early on for me. So it's actually the one that's on the Mythic site was that adventure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can see me in there with my elven shield that I was borrowing, and yeah, so that was a long time ago. But many moons. That was the one where I pissed the people off that put the hit on my head.
Ah.
That was literally that adventure, and I stopped adventuring after that because I found out about the hit, and I'm like, I'm not coming back for a while. Well, there was out of game reasons and in game reasons that I didn't come back, but it was the same thing. It's like I have a hit on my head. It just makes sense not to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, getting 300 skill points is the definitive point in the character's progression.
Yeah.
So I'm 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because
next
that's when you
year.
get access to all of your first class or partial for
Yeah.
multi-classing.
Yeah.
It's a big one. I didn't do that. I went Aegis first to get Evade because that was just so valuable.
Yeah.
And then I put the rest into Expert Adventure. Which brings me, I'm pushing, at this next open house, I will be 600 with this character.
Wow.
Yes, we started, well, no, we didn't start at the same time, because you played before.
Yeah, I played like a decade ago for a couple of years with a...
But did you have any skill points left over from that, or did you start with 20 when I started with you?
They grandfathered me over a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of what they did with
'Cause
me
I'm
and Boji too, because we played way back in the beginning, and they kind of lost all their things, but they grandfathered us and gave us some extra skill points.
Yeah, because like me starting in, 4 years and I'm only at 200. But I didn't,
I also NPC'd a lot, so you get to...
Yeah.
And I picked the double points, so I also bolstered up
Yep.
a lot faster.
That's what I did. I almost NPC'd for a full year straight with double skill points, so that's I
Sweet.
jumped from like 600 to like 180 in like a year's time.
Wow.
So that's way more than I should have jumped in a year's time. So that's the only reason I'm at 300 already. I wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah. Is
So
that your phone?
yes, it is.
Let me actually grab my plate and I'll show you.
Oh, your plate armor?
He's getting hungry. Trying to make a joke. Getting his
Probably
plate.
getting his plate. Oh, I got you.
I love puns. You want to know my new favorite? I got to tell you my new favorite joke right now. Man number 1 says, "What rhymes with orange?" Man number 2, "No, it doesn't."
Jeez.
That's a good one.
I love really bad jokes.
So before I went to the fur pauldrons that you see here. I sported the leather ones. Oh. Those were pretty gnarly. I put those underneath the plate there.
Did you paint that recently?
Funny story about that. So
It was silver.
yeah, it was shiny silver, and I'm like, it had some rust on it from water use. And I flow up here. So it's just a half breastplate, it's not too much, but it provides the necessary cover and it's great.
Yeah, it does. It covers half the torso and half the back. That's all it needs.
It was a little rusty because some water damage. So I get a spray it off, and rub off the rust. And it worked a little bit. You can still see the stain in it, but the coloring matched, so it's just a darker gray instead of a red. However, over time, apparently I had stripped the stainless coat.
Oh.
Yeah. So instead of having that nice shiny silver, it's now a rust-covered coppery, which some people like. Hey, that's cool. It fits the thing. It's well used, and yeah, it's not bad. We'll see how I feel because we got someone who said, "Hey, give that to me. I will fix it. I'll put in things to make it look like you actually have you've been hit by a weapon. Some scratches. I'll coat it so it stays stationary, and you'll be able to have it nice and glistening, nice and shiny, but also look like it's used professionally, as opposed to ruining it that way." And I'm like, "You want to?"
Nice. Yeah, I gotta get a new shirt. I'm debating if I should do it or not.
Yeah.
Instead of this one?
Yeah, because I want to get a yellow shirt to like symbolize that I had a physical change because I'm attuned to spring now. Because that's the color of spring. Because my other option was green, and people said that would clash with the blue.
Yeah.
So, but the only thing is that the only part of my shirt that anyone would see would be from here to here. And so it's like, I don't know that it's worth it for that little.
Buy that, get some dye from.
I probably could, but I would like to have it for who knows what. But
yeah, well, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, having the yellow accenting on it. I mean, like for this, it's mostly black and gray, but I got the nice little tan thing that contrasts it and actually kind of matches it out pretty well. And you can find, like, I got this on Etsy for a couple of bucks. I got this on Etsy for about 100. Like, there's a bunch of cool Dark Knight Armory, Etsy, Epic Armory that they have period material cloth and leather and metal things that you can pick up and pick and choose how to, because this is all just mixed match that I threw together over 3 years.
yeah.
Well, and Zyaelah's I'm wearing her new outfit because when I first started, I had like a lot of different outfits. I didn't have like one standard outfit, which most people have. Like, this is their character's outfit, and this is what they always wear, which is standard video game stuff. The person wears the same thing every single day. They never shower or clean it. So it's like it's the same thing. So I wanted different outfits.
Which is true on the weekenders, though.
Oh, heck yeah. And then, but then then I've just started wearing the same dress. But the problem is it's like tight around the legs, so it's hard to get over logs. It's gotten snagged in so many things. I'm just like, plus it's cold. So I've gone to, and this is brand new. This is only I think the first time I wore it was Wednesday. This top, which was supposed to be blue when I ordered it, so I'm wearing purple now until the blue one comes in. I got blue pants because I'm more water affinity, so I wanted blue. I had a blue cloak that a friend of mine had made for another event that I've been wearing as Zyaelah, but with the Talsagor Weekender, it got caught and the clasp broke off. And I was just like, I'm buying a whole new outfit. I'm just might as well go and get a different cloak because I wanted one that had holes in this. So I can wear it like this.
Yeah. Where are you people going that you get caught on stuff? I have a cape, and I have gotten caught once. And after all the crap people give me for wearing a cape about how I'm going to get caught, I have gotten caught once. Where are you walking around that you're getting caught on
with
stuff?
The dress, if you're climbing over a log or whatever, it's going to get caught on dresses and brambles and stuff. So that's the bottom of the dress. But the cloak, because I've been wearing that cloak forever, and it's never really gotten caught on anything. But I think what had happened is either I had my staff or somebody had a sword or whatever, because it ripped off the clasp, and that ripped off. The cloak is fine. It's actually, there's no rips or tears. It's just the clasp, which I can get another one. But I thought, I'm changing up her whole outfit. Yeah. I'm going to get a new, because the thing about it is it's nice to do this, but I wanted to have arm holes so I could still use, my staff or, but still also kind of be warm. So, so I was like, changing up Shayla's outfit.
I even got this gauntlet from another player who's like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm like, oh, I'll take it. So then I sported the big heavy gauntlet on one arm, and then I have this open so I can grab stuff, use the shield, switch out weapons. A lot easier for versatility. And he got this in a whole set. Like, he had the gauntlet, the plate, the hat, the leggings, everything. He's like, this is too much. I'm like, yeah, $20. He's like, sure.
Nice. Yeah, I thought about doing that too, where I would have more armor on my sword arm than my shield arm, but I ended up not doing it. There was a while where I was considering having my armor go down all the way on my sword arm, and then
I've seen a couple cool ones.
Yeah, but I decided to just do it half sleeve on both of them, and then just go from there. But
there's Dart from Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah,
he's got that set up, and then I think it was Blade 2 when he was fighting the vampire boss at the end. He had the cool metal arm gauntlet. That was pretty sweet.
So I just thought that it might swing around too much or whatever, but I don't remember why I decided against it, because I have plenty of I don't know if people noticed, but the arms are actually a smaller size scale than the chest, and I have plenty of those left over, but I ended up not doing it. What it was is I found out that I wasn't going to get any extra hit points for it, so I was like, screw that.
Yeah.
That was I think that was the final deciding factor. It was like, no benefits, it might look cool, but man.
Yeah, and then chains of pain in the butt to put on as well.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about how much harder it would be with a full sleeve on one side and a half sleeve on the other. It's already hard to get on and off.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway. Anybody have any other questions?
Comments, jokes.
You guys have anything else you want to say?
Always, but I think we want to stay on topic.
Yeah, well, we got a bunch. I can talk more about classes, but I think you wanted to have other people who are actually those classes.
Yeah, I want to try to
those.
split it up and not try to overwhelm people with too much info in one day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we've already been going for a little over 3 hours, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Time flies, right? Right?
Yeah.
I was worried that we wouldn't reach time, but we reached time and then some. I know, I'm always worried, we're not going to make it.
It's a lot to talk about. It's fun.
It is.
There's a lot of
that's
fun
just
stories.
It's fun, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that it doesn't look like there's any other questions or comments, and we've kind of talked about what we were supposed to talk about.
And then some.
And then some, so I think we're going to go ahead and end that there. Cool. I did want to thank Ascendance Gaming Center for letting us do this here.
It's nice.
They're located in Salt Lake. They are a LAN center, not a LARP center like I said last week, but a LAN center. They have computers and VRs. You guys come down. They open at 5 o'clock every weekday and weekends. Occasionally they do like free play Fridays or like buy one get one. I like it here. They're real great staff. So and they let us use it for these events, which has been really nice. So
yeah, awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comments. And everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah. Bye.
Adios.
Listen to the LARP Lounge live on Sundays at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at twitch.tv/Aerostar. That's twitch.tv/ARRUSTAR.